Ballpark here at the world's most famous beach, Daytona Beach, Florida. Site of tonight's SWAC baseball contest between the visiting Jaguars of Southern University and your Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman University. Let's get ready to meet tonight's starting lineups, beginning with our visitors from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Leading things off, playing second base, number 5, KJ White. White, second base. Batting second tonight, serving as the designated hitter, number 2, Ardell Thibodeau. Thibodeau, the designated hitter. Batting third for the Jaguars and playing third base, number 10, Taj Bates. Bates, third base. The cleanup hitter tonight is left fielder, number 26, Jalen. Time for Wildcat Baseball.
Well, live from Jackie Robinson Ballpark in beautiful downtown Daytona Beach, Florida, it's time for another Southwestern Athletic Conference series here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark, featuring the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats and the visiting Southern Jaguars. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Torello. Happy to have your company. Bryce Wojnowski, SID here at Bethune-Cookman, joins me on the call once again. Bryce, we said last week that the series at Jackson State is the most important series of the year. Well, they took 2 out of 3, and now it's once again the most important series of the year as they face a Southern team whose record does not really necessarily define the talent that this squad has.
And you're exactly right, Mike. You look at it, 9-13 on the season. A lot of those non-conference, I use in quotes, wins come against SWAC competition in these weird non-conference things that this league likes to do. Just a 2-4 start to SWAC, nothing to write home about. But this is the style of baseball team that has kind of haunted these Wildcats over the last couple years, in that they know how to get on base. And everybody's swinging it, super athletic. They tend to play good enough defense and have the athletes to make a couple of wow plays to steal some from you that you think you should have. Pitching on the other side is going to be an absolute adventure. And if the new look Wildcats, something we've talked about a little bit over the last couple of games, this new style where they're okay with winning games by slugging their way to it. They're okay with picking up the bullpen or the starting rotation if it's not what it's been over years past. If that's what they are now, on paper, this should be a series that they should take care of business in. But I certainly wouldn't want to look past Southern with the record that they have at this point either.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than Cardell Thibodeau. I mean, his numbers have been unbelievable this season. You're talking about a batting average of .468. That's top 10 in the country, coming in at number 6. This Southern team also likes to steal bases. They lead the SWAC by a wide margin. They're top 10 in the country in that stat as well. If they get guys on, they'll get guys over, and then all it takes is one knock to get them in. So it's going to be up to a new-look Wildcat defense, especially the infield, as we see Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo go to first base and Andre Martinez go to third as they continue to deal with the injury to Manny Soufrain, the stalwart first baseman on this team. Tanner Bocabello toes the slab for the Wildcats. KJ White, the lefty, stands in, and Bocabello was way wide with his first pitch, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Bocabello, the preseason all-SWAC first-team selection, but he really hasn't been playing like it so far this season, Bryce. I mean, the ERA up over 5. And last time out against Jackson State, not great. Tries to paint the corner outside, 2 balls and a strike. Last Saturday, 4 1/3 innings pitched, gave up 10 runs on 6 hits. And his ERA went over 2 points higher. There's a strike to the knees to White, 2 balls, 2 strikes. He has just gone with the heat. 90-plus fastballs, all 4 pitches so far.
You got to attack Southern because they're going to attack you.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch from Boca. Sliced foul, third base side out of play. It's going to be tough for the hitters early on because the plate in shadow, the mound in full sunlight here. Once again, the 2-2 to KJ White. Right at a lefty. Upstairs, 3-2. KJ White, batting .352. One of 3 players on this starting lineup batting over 300. 18 runs on 19 hits, and he chops one up the middle. Charging is Poyeto over the burst. Safe, not in time, as the ball was bounced to Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo, who did a nice pick job over there at first. But the throw on the slow chopper to Poyeto wasn't enough, and there's an infield single already.
Yep, and no shade to the defense on that one. That's a really tough play to make. Probably goes in as a hit either way. It is going to be interesting to see, and we talked about it a little bit pregame, what the switch here, not only how it performs, with Fabo at first and Martinez at third, but how quickly will the switch be if it doesn't? Because we know this is a different look. Some guys that are, third and first tend to be somewhat interchangeable, but especially on that third base side, Martinez getting put in a spot that he just hasn't seen action at yet this year.
Here is the man of the moment, Cardell Thibodeau, the transfer from Louisiana Monroe. His stats staggering, batting .468, an OPS of over 1,400. 34 runs on 36 hits, 8 doubles, 1 triple, 8 homers, a team high, and 29 RBIs, also a team high, with the next man in the order, Taj Bates. Slugging at .909 is Thibodeau. Fastball outside, actually took that some off of it, down at 80 miles an hour on the changeup, 1-1. White on first after a leadoff single up the middle. It stayed in the infield. Third pickoff attempt to first. Expect to see a lot of this weekend, and I mean a lot. 74 steals already on 94 attempts for Southern this season. The 1-1. There goes White. There's the throw down to second. The throw is in time, and he is safe.
Yeah, ball came out of the glove, I think. And then I think they tried for an extra swipe over after the fact. We know Southern's going to steal bases. I do urge a bit of caution when it comes to the Wildcats defense, because we've seen even just last weekend, throwing over has gotten a little too much, and it's been a little too risky, and there's been one or two too many throwaways. And Southern, with as fast as they are, you're talking about a team that could steal a couple of bases off of a throwaway.
The count is now 3-1 on Thibodeau. I mean, you got to be so careful, a guy who's so hot like this. Thibodeau, 15 walks and 12 strikeouts, as well as on-base percentage sitting at .558. And ball 4, already 2 on, nobody out here in the first. And the batter is Taj Bates, who's no slouch either. Bates batting .442. 15 runs on 34 hits. 6 doubles, 2 homers, and tied for the team lead in RBI with 29. First righty that Bocabello has faced so far. 2 on, nobody out. Breaking ball caught the outside corner, strike 1. A shaky start for Tanner. And this Wildcats defense, as that one's low and outside.
Well, and really, the way on paper both these teams have played to start, this has all the makings of a series that's going to have an 8-7 game, a 12-10 game.
15-19, one of those. Ground ball slowly towards third. On the ground is Fabo. He throws the ball away into right field, and that'll be the first run of the game. Coming in is KJ White. Thibodeau all the way to third, and Southern's on the board.
Well, it's the old baseball adage, right? When you're out there out of position, the ball has a way of finding you. And we've already seen a ball to Fabo at first, and now to Martinez at third. And a little bit of an awkward slide there. Not sure it was the most, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, the traditional way to approach that ball, and you make it a little bit worse by throwing it away. I wouldn't put it past, if I'm down there, maybe making the switch back between innings from first to third.
Breaking ball cut on and missed by Jalen Lucky. So that play was a fielder's choice by Taj Bates. Don't give him an RBI. White comes home on the throwing error by Andre Martinez at third. And another breaking ball swing and a miss by Jalen Lucky. Lucky batting .268, 11 runs on 11 hits, 3 doubles, 1 homer, 16 RBI. Runners on the corners, still nobody out. That sweeper fails to find the strike zone, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And I don't think this is on Tanner Bocabello. It's on the defense. It's on the infield.
Yeah, the infield hit's certainly one that you don't necessarily put a mark against, but there's something about playing in front of a defense that's just not quite what you're used to.
In the air, center field, that'll do the job. Daniel Figueroa camps under it, and coming in from third is Cardell Thibodeau, 2-0 Southern, and the first out of the inning.
Well, this is the kind of team, a lot like Jackson State, that's going to just frustrate you with how much activity they put on the base paths, with how many balls they're making contact with plays like that, with the stolen bases. That's what the difference is between, yeah, sure, you're going to let up your fair share of runs. They're a great offensive team, but flipping the page on the other side and taking care of business on your end.
The batter is Cameron Bird, takes a first pitch breaking ball strike at the knees. Bird batting .273, 14 runs on 18 hits, 3 doubles, 2 triples, and 12 RBI. He's got Bates at first, 2 already in the inning and 1 out against Boca Bello, although at least one of those is unearned. One. In the air, center field again. That one is going to drop in for a base hit. Bird singles right back where it came from. 2 on, 1 out.
I'm going to get used to it. It's going to be this kind of series, but I like that we see these West teams early on in the season and that you're going to get the chance to prepare yourself for this kind of team, because this is the exact kind of start to games that we've seen in the SWAC tournament, that we've seen late in the season, that have just frustrated this team to no end. So you got to get used to playing this kind of team.
Big cut on and miss on the breaking ball by Dylan Jones. That breaking ball's been Boca Bello's best pitch so far in this first inning. Jones batting .262. Swings and misses at another changeup. An OPS again of over 1,000. 9 runs on 11 hits for Jones. 5 home runs and 11 hits and 11 RBI. The 0-2, Boca looking for a strikeout. And he stays alive, does Jones. Southern has gone 1-2 in each of their first 2 conference series. At home against Alabama State and on the road against the red-hot Prairie View A&M. Upstairs, a ball and 2 strikes. And their last outing was a 15-5 loss against McNeese State on Tuesday. Boca Bello punches out. Jones looking with the fastball. And there's 2 away, and the batter is Richard Grace.
Well, I don't think we're going to see a lot of those tonight. We really haven't from the starting core much over the last going on 3 weekend series now. And it's been kind of a point of question for some of the roster, just going up and down where the strikeouts at. Why did they tick down so far from the beginning, which I think could end up being a good thing. We just haven't been there thus far.
Breaking ball strike to Richard Grace. Oh, 1. Up and in, ball 1. Richard Grace batting .318. Just 22 at-bats, 2 runs on 7 hits, 3 doubles and an RBI. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Richard will be the catcher today for his brother, Renard Grace, who's starting on the mound for Southern. And there was some confusion in the lineup card about who was where. Initially, here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, struck about swinging. I'll finish my point real quick before we go to break. But initially, Richard Grace was listed on the lineup card as both pitcher and catcher. And I wondered how he was going to do that.
Well, the short answer is he was not, I guess.
Well, Southern strikes first. 2 runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. And we go to the bottom of the first. Southern 2, Wildcats coming to bat here on the CatEye Network. We go to the bottom of the first. Well, Southern was advertised in the top, scratching across 2 runs on 2 hits and an error for the Wildcats. And now it's up to the Wildcats offense to do what they've done all season, which is hit the ball and score runs, which is anathema to the way this team has been built the last couple years, which is low-scoring games, win with your pitching and your bullpen. But Darrell Lee has been the epitome of this offensive revival for the Wildcats this year. Lee batting .381, best on the team, as he's ahead to the count 2-0. 23 runs on 24 hits, 6 doubles, 2 triples, 4 homers, and 20 runs batted in. And he skies one in the air, right field, not very deep. Bird stands under it against the sun, makes the catch one away.
Yeah, I think, honestly, before the start of this one, we expected the wind to be a little worse. It seems to have died down a hair since, BP an hour or so ago. But we know it's always pretty adventurous, especially this time of year, once you start the game, not when it's dark, but in that kind of twilight area.
Renard Grace is the starter for Southern today, the lefty out of Madison, Mississippi. The 0-1 to Andre Martinez. Pops it foul backwards, and it's 0-2. Grace, of course, pitching to his brother Richard behind the plate, has a .440 ERA, 28.2 innings pitched. He's allowed 15 runs on 23 hits, 14 of those earned, as Martinez stays alive with a foul ball. Look out, Autumn. Barely avoided that one.
Yeah, shooting video photo from down there at the edge of the dugout is always a head on the swivel type thing. I've been there plenty of times.
0-2 to Martinez. Off the end of the bat, foul the other way down the first baseline. The rest of the numbers on Grace, the pitcher. He's struck out 32, walked just 10, given up 2 doubles, a triple, 3 homers, and has hit 4 batters. His ERA once again 4.40. Once again the 0-2 to Martinez. Fouls it off again. So, as usual, we're getting the best arm available for Southern on Friday night. And on numbers, he's one of the better pitchers in the SWAC. The .440 ERA, the 32 strikeouts. The 0-2 in the dirt, 1-2.
And that's pretty consistent. I think that's one thing that's the same across all these SWAC schools is, the top of the rotation tends to be pretty good. Everybody's got at least a guy. And then we've seen, especially out west over the years, once you get past that 1, maybe 2 guys, and extend that to 1 or 2 in the bullpen, that's when it goes a little bit south.
In the air, foul, first base side, and Martinez continues this at-bat. And the 3 top guys in innings pitched on this team are the 3 starters, Nick Luckett, Renard Grace, and Niall Banks. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Massive breaking ball, punches out Martinez, and there's 2 away. But once you get past Banks, you get to guys like Genesis Prosper, 7 ERA, Calden Stewart, 20 ERA. So Coach Hernandez's theory of get to the bullpen and keep going is going to be a big thing in this series. That one right back up the middle, a 2-out single for Jorge Gonzalez Febo. Well, he makes up for his defensive error in the top of the inning.
Well, and one of the things that the Wildcats are going to be this new look kind of team that tends to be offensive forward, or at the very least it's more of a plan of attack than it has been in years past. They've still got to find a way to go to that next level when it comes to maturity, and knowing that you can still make something happen with 2 outs. It's with swings like that, not like the previous at-bat where Martinez is swinging a little bit too much for the wall. You got to tone it back a little bit and try to get a rally. You could still do it even with 2 down.
Jorge Rodriguez watches an 87-mile-an-hour fastball outside for ball 1. Rodriguez batting .463, 19 runs on 11 hits, 7 doubles and 20 RBI. Tied for the team lead in RBI with just 11 starts on the year. Of course, it's always tough with Rodriguez and Irvin Escobar, the 2 catchers in the lineup, getting them both playing time.
And Rodriguez is one I figured we'd see a little bit more at first at times just to try to get his bat in the lineup.
1-1 from Grace. Inside, missed the zone, 2 balls and a strike. The Southern dugout does not agree. And that's one thing you're going to get with Southern. You're going to get style, you're going to get swag, you're going to get energy. And it's up to the Wildcats to match that this weekend. Here's the 2-1. Off the inside of the bat, into shallow left, backpedaling is Vicar. The shortstop makes the catch. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Southern coming back to bat, up 2-0 as we go to the second here on the CatEye Network. To the second we go here at the Jack, 2-0 Southern, as they'll try to continue their offensive onslaught.
Center fielder number 21, Jacoby Ratcliffe.
It'll be 8-9-1 for the Jaguars. Jacoby Radcliffe, the center fielder, leads off against Tanner Bocabello, who's trying to settle this Wildcat defense down. Had 2 strikeouts back-to-back to end the first. First pitch outside and low to Radcliffe, batting .297. 15 runs on 11 hits. His only extra base hit is a home run. Fastball strike. On-base percentage of .518 thanks to 7 hit-by pitches and 11 walks to Radcliffe. And he puts that one in the air. Right field and deep. Going back to the wall. It bounces to the wall. Radcliffe is on his wheels. He's going to slide into third with a lead-off triple.
Did kind of a, I don't know if I want to use the term directly, but kind of did a gun motion when he slid into third for the dugout. Immediately apologized to the official at third for it. Got kind of a lucky bounce for it to stop right at the bottom of the wall, but even so, I mean, you see the speed there. He was third either way. That's the kind of team that Southern's going to bring. And again, I think it's a really good test for you because it doesn't matter if it's the first batter of the inning, the last, 2 outs, 1-0, they are going to swing the bat.
Here's the shortstop, Benny McCarr, watches a strike outside corner. McCarr batting .340, 14 runs on 16 hits. And he puts one in the air to right field. That's going to hang up in the wind, but it'll do the job. Rivera makes the catch. Radcliffe comes home. 3-0 Jags.
Well, if you're a pitcher and you see the kind of swings they're putting on you early, you got to find a way to up the deception factor a little bit because not a whole lot is missing those bats thus far, and they're being overly aggressive. You can take advantage of the aggressive swings if you can figure out how to mix the pitches a little better or go to the off-speed.
And we are already back to the top of the order with 1 out in the second. KJ White singled as a bouncer to short. Stole second, came home on the Error by Andre Martinez at third. That's another one to short. Tough play by Venegas. Pulls Fabo off the bag. White was going to be there regardless. Another infield single to short. 2 straight for KJ White.
Definitely a valiant effort by Poyeto over there at short, going to his offhand. But again, you just see the speed up and down. It's almost cliche how much we say it with teams like Southern or Jackson State, but a lot of the recruiting for that level in some of these tougher places to find true talent, you just go out and get athletes and you try to teach them the rest of it. And you see it when you're able to make contact like that. Nothing flashy about that base hit, but flying down the line and never had a chance.
Now Cardell Thibodeau, who walked and scored on the Jalen Lucky RBI sac fly in the first. Thibodeau batting nearly 500 right now. 468. The ball skips away on a pickoff. And down to second goes KJ White. He's going to turn and go to third. Everything going the way of the Jags right now. A 2-base error.
Well, that's exactly what I said about this time last inning, is I understand you want to keep them honest on the base pass. I understand you want to save yourself a step or avoid the steal. But when you're throwing over there 3 times per batter, it's just bound for that to happen. And what did I say? Not only are they going to take 1 base on that, but we saw the speed there. That's an easy, easy 2 for White.
So now, with 1 down, all Thibodeau needs to do is put it in play to pick up an RBI. First pitch is a ball way low. And this definitely reminds me of the FIU game on Tuesday night where just nothing went the Wildcats' way. Thibodeau does put it in the air. Foul territory, third base side. Will it stay in the yard? No. And it's just a long strike. Count 1-1. Runner on third, White. Pitch to Thibodeau. Big cut and miss on the fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And again, I'm not sure how much of this is on Bocabello. Another 2-base error, the second already in the game for the Wildcats. That one rocketed back up the middle. It'll bounce in for a base hit. But he does give up a couple of ones like that. And this is starting to look like the start for Bocabello against Jackson State last Friday where he gave up 10 runs.
Yeah, and I mean, as easy as it is to shove some of it off and say, well, the defense didn't do me any favors, and there's certainly a morale element to that. Southern is barreling everything up. And again, I think it's what we expected. We said it in the open. They may have fooled maybe Bocabello or some of the Wildcats downstairs, but we knew this was a team that you can't just let slide early despite their SWAC record. I mean, they're going to come out and they're going to swing it, and they are not going to stop. I mean, they would run rule you and then some if they got the chance.
It's 4-0 Southern as KJ White came in on the RBI single by Cardell Thibodeau. Thibodeau's 30th RBI of the season already. And now the batter is Taj Bates, who reached on a fielder's choice, stranded on second of the first. Bates, 29 RBI, mostly because of the fact that he bats behind Thibodeau, who just gets on base. Chop foul right at home plate. Looked like it caught Escobar on the arm, but he appears to be okay. Count is 0-1. The on-base percentage for the top 3 in this lineup, Thibodeau 558, White 444, Bates 516. You might not get a better 1-2-3 punch in the entire conference. Boca throws over to first, and the ball gets by Fabo again. This time it's only 1 base as Thibodeau goes to second.
And if that's the kind of danger that you're flirting with, then just stop. You're not saving yourself. I would rather guarantee them a steal a second every single time than risk that. And that's when you get a little bit luckier as far as it's not rolling all the way down to the edge of that bullpen there, so it's just the 1 base. But it's just not the communication, whatever it is. I wouldn't throw over anymore.
Ground ball to third. Martinez fields, looks to run her back, throws across, and it gets away. A fourth error in 2 innings for Bethune-Cookman. It's gonna score. Thibodeau from second, trying to go to third is Bates, and he is out.
Well, that play right there tells me a lot. More so on the back end of that play, because Andre Martinez, again, a guy that still finding his footing over there at third in his first opportunity over there of the year. He's not the one there to get that ball when it's relayed in from foul territory by Fabo on the other side. Jeter Poyeto calls him off and elects to be the one down there to grab it and make the tag. And that tells me a lot about how he's a little bit uncomfortable over in that position, maybe not quite ready. Again, I would absolutely, between innings, flop back, switch Fabo back over to third and Martinez to first.
Taj Bates has not left third base, as he was thrown out by
The Jaguars, left fielder number 26,
Sergio
Jalen
Rivera.
Lucky, number 26.
So he now retreats to the dugout. There are 2 away, but already 3 in. It's 5-0. The Wildcats have 4 errors in 2 innings. And we talked both off-air and at the start of the broadcast about the corner of the infield. They swapped him. Fabo was playing third, Martinez was playing first. They swapped him around, and all kinds of hell has broken loose on the infield. And now a hit batter. The inning will continue as Lucky takes his base.
You can see the way the Wildcats, I guess you could almost say the respect for the Southern lineup, and that there's still no, not only call to the bullpen, but there's no one even warming yet. And yeah, it's really, really early, but it to me is almost symbolizing, hey, we would rather let this one slip away, or at the very least trust our bats to dig out of a massive hole, than to burn guys in a series that we think we're going to need them for.
I would switch Fabo and Martinez.
I would do it right now.
I would do it right now.
Absolutely, I would too. At the very least, between innings. I don't, and we'll talk to Coach after it. I'm sure he'll give us an explanation of why the change was made initially. But there's really no reason at this point to argue otherwise. I mean, I can't think of a reason, like an injury-related reason, why you would have to flip the two. You've got guys who could play first if you needed to that are not Andre Martinez. I know his bat has been hot, but it just doesn't make sense to me.
And that's exactly what it appears like they've done. So Lucky's on at first. Lucky, I should specify, flew out to center his first time up, did pick up an RBI as Thibodeau scored from third. That was back in the first, and now the batter is Cameron Bird with 2 outs and 1 on. Runner goes. Here's the throw down to second. The throw is a swing and a miss. The throw is on the money and beautiful. That time the tag applied by Venegas. Caught stealing is Lucky, and that's the end of the inning. But the Wildcats, oh boy. 3 runs on 3 hits, 3 errors, and nobody left for Southern. It's 5-0 after an inning and a half here on the CatEye Network. Southern continues to pile on the pressure. It is 5-0 Jaguars. As we go to the bottom of the second, Jesus Venegas leads off for the Cats, who only got one hit in the bottom of the first. Feels like they've been in the field for 90% of this game. Venegas takes ball one from Renard Grace. A ball and no strikes. Venegas pops it up foul back onto the roof.
Well, you got to take it one pitch at a time, one at-bat at a time, one swing at a time. I've seen too many times early in the season. I know we talk about it a lot, that you've really gotten swing happy in your innings that are less than 10 pitches and not really looking competitive doing it.
That time, Venegas watches way outside 2-1. I was thinking during the break that this reminds me a lot of the middle game against Alcorn State 2 weeks ago. 2-1. Venegas, check swing, fouls it onto the mask of the catcher, 2 balls, 2 strikes, where the Wildcats were down by 5 after 2 innings and, of course, eventually rallied to run rule the Braves in that game against a much lesser quality of pitching than we're going to see tonight. That one grounded to third. Sliding is Bates. He throws over to first. The throw is way wide, and an infield single for Jesus Venegas. Well, that's how it started for Southern. Maybe that's how it starts for the Wildcats.
Well, and to your point, the difference between this and the Alcorn game, if they're going to turn this thing around, is very much a mental one for the Wildcats. You feel like they probably came into that Alcorn game telling themselves, this is a team we can take care of business against. We can put up as many as we need if we need to, regardless of what our pitching does. If you believe that's the case against Southern tonight, then maybe you can repeat that.
Escobar, a little flare in the right field. That is going to drop for a base hit and be bobbled by Bird in the outfield. It's going to escape all the way to the wall. Venegas wheeling and dealing around third. He'll score. Into third is Escobar with a triple.
Well, that one's not going to go into the book as an error, but it might as well be. Irvin Escobar is not the fastest guy in the world, certainly showing some hustle out there, but Bird out there in left comes on way too aggressive with the glove, trying to kind of swipe at it, and he's got no one behind him to back it up, so he is really leaving the rest of the defense out to dry and letting him go all the way down to third, because now that ball is at the wall.
Now it's Jeter Poyeto, and the Wildcats are on the board. It's 5-1 as Venegas comes home all the way from first. First pitch from Grace is a breaking ball strike outside corner. Nice frame job by Grace. Of course, if you're just joining us, we've got the brothers, Renard Grace on the mound and Richard Grace catching. I think that's the first time I've ever seen them in a Division I baseball game. Off the end of the bat, lifted foul, first base side, into the seats. And it's 0-2 against Poyeto. Jeter batting .243, 11 runs on 17 hits. 3 doubles, 3 triples, a homer, and 19 ribbies. But he's behind 0-2. Here's the pitch. And it gets away. Here comes Escobar from third. He'll score standing up. And it's 5-2 as the Wildcats' first 2 batters of the inning both come back to the plate.
Well, it's time for our routine game-by-game reminder of the backstop here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark is one of the biggest you'll see, certainly at this level, but really a lot of way around the country. That one is kind of your textbook hops up against the wall, and there's absolutely no chance unless it kicks right back out to you.
I mean, we saw on Tuesday that FIU was able to get one. A runner coming home from third on a wild pitch, that is, because the ball didn't really go that far behind the plate. That one skipped all the way to the backstop, and even though Escobar's not the fastest cat in the world, there was no chance. Off the end of the bat, dribbled towards second. Charging is White. He'll throw to first to retire Poyeto, one away.
Well, you can already see the bats feel a little bit better about themselves, even in the deficit. Barreling things up a little bit better. Swinging a fair share. I just think you see it in the dugout, a shred of confidence, a feeling that, we can turn this thing around, which, like I mentioned, is really going to be the key here if you can do the thing.
Now it's Sergio Rivera with one down. He squares to bunt, pulls it back, ball 1. Rivera batting .239, 14 runs on 11 hits, a double, a triple, and 9 RBI. Big cut and miss on the up and in fastball, a ball and a strike. And Rivera's found himself in and out of the lineup, 17 starts in 22 games played this season. Check swing, doesn't matter, strike anyway, a ball and 2 strikes. Wildcats' first 2 batters of the inning, both scored. 1-2. In the dirt, 2-2. Venegas singled to third. Escobar tripled him home and scored on a wild pitch. And we could have a lot of runs in this series. With both offenses as good as they are. The 2-2. High pop, third base side. It'll come back behind the plate. Grace tracking. Oh my goodness, he swiped at it and made the catch.
Talk about that twilight. It's a tough time of day to make that catch, especially with just enough wind out there to make it that much more difficult. Impressive staying on that, making the play.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Number 20, Daniel Figueroa.
If Grace can shake off the 2 big hits and get the Wildcats to go 1-2-3 after that, it'll be a long way of settling this game down for the Jags. They still lead at 5-2 as the Wildcats have been adrift defensively. There's a bunt, foul, as Daniel Figueroa is trying to take advantage of his speed. Figueroa batting .229. 4 runs on 8 hits, a double and 8 RBI for Figueroa. He comes in to replace Martinez, who moved to third, who typically played in the outfield. Again, this new look Wildcat defense tonight has been all over the place.
And funny enough, this is probably the lineup we've seen this year that is the most similar to last year between Figueroa, Rivera, Escobar, Rodriguez.
Fabo.
It's got the most of last year's team in a lineup we've seen.
0-1, breaking ball, strike down at 75. That Southern dugout getting ready to explode if Grace gets this one. 0-2. Bounced it to the plate. No swing called. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Long look in from Grace, working the pitch clock. Here's the 1-2. High pop. Fair territory, drifting toward the line in right. It is going to drop and be a fair ball. And sliding into second is Figueroa. Well, sometimes you need to get a little bit lucky.
Well, I think the key to this game and this series, and the way you beat Southern, and you can extend that to some of these other SWAC schools that play with that style, is you got to out-Southern Southern. And with 2 outs, it's very easy. You know, even that pitch before, right, that is kind of on the outside, stays over the plate long enough to make you think about it, but you lay off and it eventually goes in the dirt. That's the kind of pitch that you very easily could have struck out on, but instead you lay off, you get one you kind of like, and sure, you got a little bit lucky with the flick out there into no man's land, but now you're threatening with 2 away.
And the batter is Darrell Lee, and he watches one low and away, ball 1. But you need to ride your luck in games like this. You also need to stabilize the defense, and I'm going to keep bringing it up until it happens. The Wildcats can score all the runs they like. They go 3 errors in an inning every inning. They're not going to win anything. Lee waves and misses at a breaking ball that breaks away from the lefty. Lefty-to-lefty matchup is so hard because everything is going to break down and away from you. 1-1 the count with Figueroa on second and 2 outs. 2 already in the inning, a 5-2 ball game in the bottom of the second. Lee, fastball strike on the inside corner. Lee doesn't like it, and it's 1-2. Southern trying to get out of the inning with no more damage. Bernard Grace from the stretch. 5, strike 3, got him. Lee watches one on the lower part of the zone. Wildcats do get on the board. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 left, and we go to the third. Wildcats down 5-2 here on the CatEye Network. Well, the defensive change that we talked about and asked for up here has been made by the Wildcats. We go to the third. Cameron Bird fouls off a first pitch breaking ball from Boca Bello. Southern leads 5-0 here in the third inning, and 4 Wildcat errors have been the key part of that, and so they've changed the defensive alignment up. Andre Martinez goes to first. Jorge Gonzalez-Febo goes to third as they swap the 2 middle infielders. That is a big cut and miss up by the face of Cameron Bird. Had no idea where that one was, and it's 0-2. What the Wildcats wouldn't give for a clean inning defensively right now. It has been anything but so far tonight. Boca from the stretch. Soft tapper. It hits the bat and goes foul.
And, infield defense is one of those things that it's so easy to tell yourself, right, over, the week without a game or in the offseason. They're like, we've been so good defensively for the last few years. We'll let a little bit of that slide in favor of a bat. And then when it starts to happen in a game and you have one of these where you have 4, 3, whatever errors, timely errors, then you very quickly see why that's not really something you can take for granted.
The Wildcats had, 5 errors on Tuesday as well against FIU. Dropped their fielding percentage down to .961. Still tops in the SWAC, but it might not be after tonight. Here's the 0-2 from Boca. Way upstairs, above the head of Bird, who singled to center field his first time up. Because right on their heel is Texas Southern, just 2 points back, and Jackson State a point behind them. Fouled away by Bird to stay alive. The Wildcats come into tonight's game sporting the second-best team ERA in the conference at 6.31. 1-2. Breaking ball, cut on a miss. Goodbye, Birdie, as Cameron Bird strikes out, and there's one away.
Yeah, set him up with the high stuff and threw a nice breaking ball that started high but dipped in down the middle. And Bird was still hunting high and was way above it.
There's Dylan Jones, who struck out looking his first time up. That was the 3rd strikeout for Boca in the game. Had 2 back-to-back to close the first. Here's the first pitch. In the air, center field. Well struck, Figueroa tracking it, and he makes the catch for out number 2.
Another one where you don't shy away from the contact. You're more than okay with letting them hit it hard as long as you know your defense is out there to back you up. And really, the outfield defense has probably been the strong suit, the stronger of the 2 units to start the season. So nothing wrong with being that fly ball pitcher if you can make sure they hit it where your guys are.
Fastball right down Broadway. First pitch to Richard Grace. Grace struck out his first time up to end the top of the first inning. If you look at the pitching numbers, fastball low. Bethune-Cookman as a team with 6.31 ERA. Southern down at 10.08. But if you were just on the eye test tonight, as that one smashed a base hit to left field past the glove of Poyeto, and once again, a 2-out opportunity for a team against the Wildcats. But if you had asked me, just based on the first couple of innings, what team had the 10 ERA, what team had the 6.30 ERA, I would have said it was the other way around.
Still, even as we get later and later in the season, also the point where you can't really say early in the season anymore, Boca Bello hasn't really looked like himself yet.
Did put on a significant amount of muscle compared to last year. Ticked the fastball up into the low to mid 90s. Another throw over to first. This time you feel a little bit better with Martinez over there than Fabo. What the 10 ERA for Southern does tell me, though, is that the Wildcats can get to that bullpen. They have every shot of the world of remaining in this contest.
And even if it's not for tonight's sake, right? If you can knock out top 2 bullpen arms tonight, you got to, we'll talk about it, a change to a doubleheader tomorrow. I mean, you can see a lot of different arms.
Fastball at the knees, low. 2 balls and a strike up at 91 to Jacoby Radcliffe, who led off the second inning with a triple that hopped to the right field wall. And he came around to score on the Bakar sac fly. That one again missing the zone from Boca. He looks scared. I'm gonna say it. He looks scared. He's not attacking these hitters.
With 2 outs, you have to, right? I mean, you're scared of the ball in the gap. because you know how much speed there is on the bases.
Got a strike call at the knees when maybe he didn't deserve it. Radcliffe was thinking about throwing the bat away and trotting to first, but now the count runs full. 3-2, 2 outs, runner on first. Wildcats looking for the first scoreless frame of the day, and he got it. Big swing and a miss from Jacoby Radcliffe. Fourth strikeout for the Wildcats, second in the inning for Bo Cabello, and nothing for the Jags on one hit and one left. And we go to the bottom of the third. Wildcats down by 3, 5-2 here on the CatEye Network. We start the bottom of the third inning with pitch number 41 for Richard Grace, and that is promptly smacked into left field by Andre Martinez for the first batter on base for the Wildcats.
You certainly feel better about yourselves after that swing, the last defensive inning, the end of the inning before this one. Still got to put quite a bit together. You know, if you're going to come back, tie this one up, go ahead, but much better look.
Fabo watches one low and outside. Fabo had the only hit in the first for the Wildcats, singled up the middle. Grace has gone some pretty far distances over his 5 starts this season. 91 pitches in 6 full innings against Prairie View a week ago today. And against Mercer at the beginning of the month, 95 pitches in 6 full innings. So they're willing to let him ride. And he's done a really good job in those long starts. That one is in the air left field. That drops in for a base hit in front of Lucky. So the first 2 batters for the Wildcats in the inning both reach on hard contact to left. 2 on, nobody out.
You want to talk about out-southerning Southern. It's not the long ball. It's not, you know, one big hit here or there. It starts to innings like this where you're putting guys on. Everybody's moving up the bases. Not have to do anything flashy necessarily. Just continuing to barrel it up, keep everybody moving.
Would you like to try that again?
No, I would not, because I think I will only make it worse.
Southern, I like it. Now here's Jorge Rodriguez, who popped up in foul territory, bunts it foul third base side. Popped it up in foul territory to end the first inning. Chance for some ribbies here for Rodriguez. On the year, he's tied for the team lead with Darrell Lee with 20. Martinez on second, Fabo on first after back-to-back singles to left. Here's the 0-1 from Grace. He squares to bunt. He puts it down right in front of the catcher. The first baseman comes to throw. He throws to the covering White, but the job is done. The runners advance.
Obviously a nice sacrifice bunt, but a good bit of humility there. You're talking about a guy who's been one of the best hitters on the year for this team. A guy that certainly got the big bat to put one in the gaps or over the wall, but instead understands the situation, understands that you've got the potential to put two guys into scoring position and put you one swing away from coming within a run. And he lays down a really nice one.
Here's Jesus Venegas now. Second and third, one down. Venegas chops it foul on a breaking ball outside, 0-1. Venegas led off the second with a single to third, came around to score on the Escobar triple right behind him. He's looking to get the Wildcats right back in this one as they trail 5-2. Here's the pitch from Grace. Big cut and miss. Venegas is hunting that outfield gap, and he's been way late on a couple of breaking balls. And now we'll see if Grace goes with the high heat up and in to try and close out Venegas. Here's the 0-2. Upstairs, he did go with the high fastball, but missed it outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Martinez on third, Fabo on second. 1 out in the inning on the sac bunt by Rodriguez to get him over there. One-two from the lefty Grace. Rodriguez golfs it, foul down the third base line. Had to go down there and try and pick up that breaking ball off the top of the plate. And he stays alive. The ball bounced off the clubhouse and rolled into left field. Long look in from Grace. 1-2. Once again, a breaking ball chopped foul by Venegas, and he stays alive. So 4 breaking balls, 1 fastball in the AB from Grace.
Some nice defensive swings. Easy to try to take one, but they've been close enough that it's warranted the swing.
Once again, the 1-2. This time, Grace goes with the fastball, and it's fouled off the other way.
Understandably a tick behind that one. Now you get a chance to see it, and the longer the AB goes, the less and less flexibility you have, because he's seen just about everything you have to offer and puts the favor back for Venegas.
For the 4th time, the 1-2. Venegas in the air, left center field. That's going back towards the track, towards the wall. It bounces off the wall and over it for a 2 RBI ground rule double. And the Wildcats are back to within 1. It's 5-4.
And what did we say? I mean, the more and more pitches you see, you got to see a little bit of the fastball. You got to really dial in the speed for the breaking ball. That's when that one is taken the other way. And that one, you talk about splitting the gap. That is right in between, a big gap between the 2 defenders. And another little bit of that unlucky Jackie Robinson Ballpark ground rule double bounce. But you still take it back within a run.
Now it's Irvin Escobar, who came up in the exact same position his first time up, ended up tripling home Venegas. He watches one in the dirt for ball 1. When the Wildcats have bats like they've seen this year, they're never out of ball games.
We talked about it a little bit on the podcast this last week. It's, for me, still very much coming to grips with a different-looking BCU team.
That one is hammered down the line and foul into the little triangle between the fence and the clubhouse wall. Just a little out in front of it from Escobar. That almost looked like a potential for another triple.
Yeah, that would be your more traditional triple at this ballpark. Right down in that corner. Who knows what kind of strange bounce it could take.
Just goes in as a strike. The 1-1 pitch way outside, 2-1. But both teams, with the exception of that first inning for BCU, have just smashed baseballs today. I would not be surprised if we have a couple leave the yard tonight with the way the bats are looking. Low ball 3, nice take from Escobar. The man on the scoreboard is a bit behind. It still says Jesus Venegas. He's at second after a 2 RBI double.
Got to get the kinks out now. Tortuga season getting ready.
3 balls, 1 strike to Escobar. Gray spinning a throwback to second. Diving back in is Venegas. He looked like he was almost halfway to third.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where as risky as that throw over is, and we've talked about it a bunch, even with your second baseman playing pretty far over on that first base side of the bag, there comes a point where it's a little bit too much. It's like, okay, you're going to have to dial that one back or I am going to throw over.
The 3-1 in the air. That one's going to hang up in the wind and be caught on the run by the left fielder, Lucky. Going to third base is Venegas on the sac fly, and there's a runner on third now with 2 down.
Shoot, that ball was hit almost the exact same as the one before it.
Just a little loft.
Just a little bit more loft on it. Both the outfielders playing a little bit more into that gap, especially the left fielder, Lucky.
Now Jeter Poyeto, 2 outs. Venegas on third, a chance to tie the game here with the Wildcats down 5-4. First pitch from Grace. Outside batter's box, ball 1 to the righty Poyeto. Jeter grounded out to second his first time up. That was after Venegas and Escobar scored the 2 runs for the Wildcats in the second. Grace from the stretch. Opposite field, in the air, deep down the line, and into the Turtles' nest in foul territory, and the count is a ball and a strike. Poyeto, not necessarily who you would think is the power guy. 1 home run on the year, but does have 3 triples. A lot of speed, the transfer from Wake Forest. The 1-1. Ground ball, just foul outside of third, heads up Coach Hernandez. I haven't talked to Coach Hernandez about his thoughts about coaching third base for the last 2 years, when before that he had Jose Carballo do it. And he was just in the dugout the whole time. Here's the 1-2. To Poyeto, 2 outs and a runner on third. The kick, the delivery, the ground ball softly hit towards third and foul. And we'll do the 1-2 again.
I can tell you in regards to the third base coach, and the conversations we've had with Coach Hernandez about it, it's definitely been an adjustment. I think he does like, as the head guy, you know, being under control of, even if it's a bad result, at least he can live with it because he made the call.
For the 3rd time, we'll do the 1-2 to Poyeto from Grace. Here's the pitch. Check swing, dribbled it foul. This is very similar to the at-bat by Jesus Venegas, which stayed at 1-2 for seemingly an eternity before Venegas hit a ground rule double 2 RBI style to left center field. Dancing at third is Venegas. And it's in the dirt, ball 2. And you got to be careful. We've already seen 1 run score on a wild pitch for the Wildcats tonight.
Well, that's an impressive take. I mean, that's not an easy pitch. That's pretty close on that line. Just got a good enough eye to let it roll by. And now, again, when you take pitches like that, now you're really making it tough when you've seen just about everything he's got to throw.
2-2. Fouls off another breaking ball at 75 miles an hour. There's a pretty consistent, about 12-mile-an-hour difference between the 75-ish breaking ball and the 86, 87-ish fastball for Renard Grace. The redshirt junior from Madison, Mississippi, the career Jaguar, delivers the 2-2. Low and inside, 3-2. Count runs full. His career ERA in 126 innings pitched is 6.63, Renard. And he's trying to keep the Jags on top after they jumped up 5-2, and the Wildcats have responded to make it 5-4. The 3-2. Ground ball to third, bobbled by Bates, but the ball was hit so fast he's able to recover and throw to first. And Southern maintains the lead, but 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 left. We go to the 4th, 5-4 Jags over Wildcats here on the CatEye Network. The Wildcats have responded with 2 runs in each of the last 2 innings. They're down 5-4 here against Southern. As we begin play in the top of the 4th, it'll be 9-1-2 for Southern as we're about to begin the 3rd time through the order. Tanner Bocabello still in there. This will be pitch number 64. The first pitch to Betty Bakar is fouled away onto the concourse on the left-hand side, 0-1. Bakar flying out to right his first time up, but he did pick up an RBI as he scored Radcliffe, who was on third after a leadoff triple. Breaking ball low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, Bocabello may be at 65 pitches, but he might not be anywhere near done according to his season stats. That one on the ground. A third past the diving glove of Fabo and into left field. So another leadoff hit for Southern that brings back the top of the order again.
Yeah, well, if you thought they were just going to go away, I got news for you. They're going to continue to do it. I mean, that's what they've done all year. That's what they've done the last several years. I mean, how many times in the tournament did it feel like the Wildcats would have a leg up, have a good inning, and Southern would return right back down and just beat you down with how many guys are continuing to get on base?
Back to the top of the order for Southern. Throw over to first. And I would, like you said, not do that very much anymore because Bocabello's thrown 2 away already.
Well, at least now you've got, I don't want to say experience at first. It's a little less out of alignment than usual.
The count is a ball and no strikes after KJ White squared the bunt and took one upstairs. White reached on a infield single to the shortstop both times, both in the first and the second. He scored both times. Another check to first. In the first, he stole second, then came home on a throwing error by the third baseman at the time, Andre Martinez. A third check over to first. That one's close, but Bakar back in there safely. Bakar, 7 steals and 8 attempts on the year. And he'll take off. It's a hit and run. Ground ball. Softly hit to short. Venegas has no play anywhere. 3 infield singles to the shortstop for KJ White. That's unbelievable.
Well, as fast as he is, it's not all that surprising once you see him run down that baseline. I mean, he has wheeled. He's halfway down there by the time it even hits the turf for the first time.
Number 2, Cardell Thibodeau.
Regardless of how talented or deep this team is, the way they play is always going to frustrate you. That's part of the reason they've had so much success over the last couple of years. Haven't, cracked through and made the championship or won one, but they've always been there. They're a thorn in the side in every true sense of the phrase.
Thibodeau, that's a line drive base hit to right. Bakar's going to come in from third. Here's the throw to the plate. It's cut off. 3 straight singles to begin the inning. And it's 6-4 Southern. Thibodeau now 2 for 2 with a walk and 2 runs scored and 2 RBI. And it's the 3rd inning.
Yeah,
Correction, the 4th inning.
Just the second of the runs earned for Bocabello. And no defense to throw the blame on this one. Southern just barreling everything up. Everything you hear is hit so hard. Even those liners, even those ground balls.
White goes from first to third. So now runners on the corners, nobody out for Taj Bates.
And again, be wary of all the throwovers. You got to run around third now.
So after an inning where the Wildcats just hold Southern to no runs on a hit, they respond immediately with 3 straight singles. And another run to make it 6-4. The batter is Taj Bates, who's made contact every time. Bates reached on a fielder's choice in the first. Reached on an error in the second and was caught trying to go all the way to third on a nice throw by Rivera out in right field. The 1-1. Off the inside of the bat. Punched foul to the right-hand side. A ball and 2 strikes. Bocabello has 4 strikeouts tonight, but has not been able to get anybody in the top 3 of this order out so far this evening. Runners on the corners, nobody out, already a run in for Southern. Sweeper misses outside and low, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And again, Bocabello just not trusting his stuff, trying to dance around these hitters. Bates fouls it off again. Wildcats coming into the night, and a three-way tie for first place in the conference at 5-1. Another foul away from Bates, and now we're going to say the same thing that we said the last inning about Venegas. You foul so many of these away, eventually the balance tips in favor of the batter. Southern just 2-4. Ground ball to short. Flip to second for one. Back to first. Double play. A run scores as KJ White comes in. But Thibodeau is out. And Bates is out. It's 7-4, and there's two away in the inning with nobody on.
And that is not an easy play. Venegas has to make a really quick decision there. Do you let it bounce in front of you and potentially take a step back? Do you charge it and try to swipe at it with the glove? Kind of elects to sit on it. Catches it right in the glove on a really, really short hop and makes a really nice bang-bang double play. Much needed.
Slow one over the head of Bocabello by Jalen Lucky. Oh, he's out! What a play at first by Andre Martinez to keep his foot on the bag. 2 runs, 3 hits, nobody left. The double play huge, but Southern does push the lead back up to 3 at 7-4 as we go to the bottom of the 4th here on the CatEye Network. Well, the Wildcats once again in a 3-run hole after Southern plates 2 in the top of the 4th. We go to the bottom of the inning. Sergio Rivera leads off for the Maroon and Gold. First pitch lefty to righty is a big cut and miss. On a breaking ball by Grace. Rivera popped up behind the plate to the catcher, who, in all fairness to Rashard Grace, made a nice catch. That was the second out of the second inning. He's behind 0-1. And he watches one that hooks the outside corner 0-2. Wildcats are going to need the bottom of the order to step it up here. It's been all middle so far that's done the damage. Rivera watches a fastball down and in. And Sergio Rivera has been one that has maybe not put up the offensive numbers we kind of expected, just batting .239. 1-2. Pop foul behind the plate. Grace will watch it hit the roof. Cue roof.
Hit the roof 3 times. I think it hit the press box and then bounce down and hit us.
It's so weird being under the roof now, as opposed to up all the way in the press box. A ball and 2 strikes on Rivera. Breaking ball misses outside. 2-2. Wildcats have done a good job in the last couple of innings of extending these at-bats. Renard Grace, up to now 67 pitches. Right back up the middle, base hit. He's going to try and stretch it to a double. Here comes the throw. In there with a double is Sergio Rivera using his speed.
And again, if you want to talk about doing to Southern what they do to everybody else, I mean, that's the kind of play that the Jaguars will very easily try to take 2 from 1 there. And Sergio, not necessarily the guy you always look at as the speedster, but you look at the steals numbers over the last couple years and the really heads-up base running there. That's a really nice way to get another inning started. And, you know, even though Southern's answered, you've shown you can go toe-to-toe here.
Here's Daniel Figueroa, who doubled his first time with a little blooper into no man's land down the first base line. He's got nobody out, and Sergio Rivera on second, Cats down 3. Watches a fastball outside corner, strike 1. Sergio Rivera dancing with destiny out there on the second base bag, as he almost drew a throw from Renard Grace behind the plate. Now it's my turn for a Freudian slip. 0-1 from Grace. That one didn't have any break on the breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody up in the Southern bullpen. The Wildcats do have an arm throwing down there, down the first base line. A third base line, 1-1. Big cut and miss. Ball in the dirt. No throw. So down to third goes Sergio Rivera on the stolen base. Thought for a second they might send him back if that ball ticked the bat, but it did not. Figueroa down 1-2, but a chance to drive in a run here. Grace, leg kick, deal. Change up outside, ball 2. Late arriving crowd, but a couple of maroon and gold wearing fans have made their way to the Jack on this Friday night. Grace, big breath, the 2-2. Briggs, swing and a miss on the breaking ball, and he's down on strikes is Daniel Figueroa. Third strikeout of the night for Renard Grace, and we'll go back to the top of the order. Runner on third is Sergio Rivera with 1 out. Here's Darrell Lee, who we praised for his really good offensive numbers coming into the night, but he's 0 for 2. Flied out to right and struck out looking in each of the first 2 innings. Inside ball 1, almost hit Lee on the arm.
Both starters in this game have really towed that line where, yeah, sure, you've got a doubleheader coming up tomorrow. You're probably going to have a longer leash than normal. But right when it seems like it's teetering, even like it did at the start of this one, they kind of lock back in.
That time he goes with the fastball, and Lee nowhere near it. Sergio Rivera on third after a leadoff double and a steal. That one low, 2 balls, 1 strike to Lee. Darrell, the Alabama native, Coastal Alabama Community College transfer. Looking to bring the Wildcats a step closer in this game. He puts bat to ball, grounds it to short. He'll do the job and get a sack as Rivera comes in from third to score. It's 7-5. Lee out 4-3 with an RBI.
Doing the job is the name of the game. And the more and more you go, and eventually if you can make way to that bullpen, every run you take back now makes it a whole lot easier of a climb back later.
Now 2 outs, nobody on for Andre Martinez. Big cut and miss at a fastball outside. Martinez struck out in the first. Single to left in the third, came around to score on the ground rule double by Jesus Venegas. Fastball caught the inside corner all the way up at 86, one of Grace's fastest pitches on the evening. And finance major Renard Grace trying to get out of the inning, and Andre Martinez stays alive. Martinez, the reigning back-to-back SWAC newcomer of the week, was also hitter of the week 2 weeks ago for his heroics against Alcorn State. But he's facing an 0-2 count from Grace. Big cut and miss. Ball in the dirt. Grace has it behind the plate, throws to first to complete the K and end the inning. A run on a hit is all the Wildcats get. They creep closer as they are down 7-5 as we go to the 5th here on the CatEye Network. Jaguars of Southern trying to increase their 7-5 lead here in the top of the 5th. Cameron Bird leads off. Tanner Bocabello, breaking ball strike at the knees. We have a special guest up here in the broadcast booth. It's former Wildcats second baseman Colton Olison. Colton, welcome back to Jackie Robinson Ballpark.
Hello, guys. It's nice to be back. I hope everyone's doing well, and it's nice to see everyone and get a look at Jackie at nighttime.
What's been the transition like from playing here over the last 4 years to now coaching a little bit at the high school level?
Yeah, so it's been nice. Obviously, I missed the game. I would be lying if I said I didn't dream about the game or playing it.
Ground ball back up the middle. Tough play for Venegas. He's got it, though, and a nice pick off the turf by Martinez.
Yeah, I would be lying if I said I didn't miss it a lot, but that's why I'm here, trying to just see how the guys are doing and check it out and see how all the boys are getting after it tonight.
Have you tried to dig up any extra eligibility with all the new rule changes and stuff that have happened in the NCAA over the last year or so?
No, I know it's been pretty crazy lately with all the rules and everything like that, but it was my time to hang them up when it was my time. You know, I gave it all I had, and I couldn't ask for anything more. Even though I miss it, I think it was my time to hang it up and just enjoy the.
That's a foul ball, so Jones is going to go in as an 0-2 count. Jones is 0 for 2 tonight. Struck out looking in the first, flied out to center field in the third.
Man, that was close.
It was, and I think Coach Hernandez is out saying, listen, are you sure? Of course, no replay here at the Jack. You can't really overturn those.
No replay. Would be nice.
It would.
Hopefully soon.
Well, from some conversations I've had with some City of Daytona Beach people, we think it's coming at some point in the near future.
That would be nice.
Problem is standardizing that sort of thing across the league when you got the Valleys of the world, Pine Bluffs, who could flat out tell you, listen, that's not going to happen. Don't have the staff, the facilities, what have you.
0-2 outside, 1-2. What's been the thing you've missed most about being an active player here at Bethune?
100% is the guys. You know, the teammates and the coaches is what makes the experience here at Bethune-Cookman.
Ground ball, high chopper towards third, charging his Fabo, sets his feet, picked off the turf by Martinez, 2 away.
You know, it's a big family-oriented group here, and you know, you just miss the times that you get on the field. You get not even just on the field though, the stuff you go through in the weight room, the stuff you go through in hotels, and the traveling you do, and just the hard work you put in together. It's a bond that you know you can't forget, and that it never gets old. can't get used to it. It's new every day.
Catcher Rashard Grace bats now. He's 1 for 2, single to left in the third, struck out of the first. You were the defensive captain at second base on this team the last 3 or so years. You see the team struggling like they are tonight with 4 errors. What would you do in a situation like that to try and get the defense back on track?
That's a tough one. I think a lot of defense has to do with confidence, and I think with a lack of confidence, that can creep in some fear, and that's when errors start to happen. When you play hesitant, when you play scared, mistakes are going to happen. They're bound to happen. So with a little bit of confidence, it's what's going to help you get through every inning, especially with behind pitchers that trying to keep pitch counts down and get back in so we can get the bats rolling. Defense and confidence is going to be huge.
Off the end of the bat, a little flare single to right field for Rashard Grace, his second hit of the game. So the inning will continue a little bit. As you've started the transition to coaching, Colton, what has been the biggest thing that you've been able to take away from your experiences here at BCU to transition into a coaching role?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the thing I always tell myself, or I've been telling myself lately, is I wish I had this perspective when I was playing. I wish I was coaching a little more before I was playing, because it gives you a different perspective when you're on the other side of, oh man, you shouldn't have swung at that pitch, or oh man, you should have stolen that pitch, or hey, you should have shifted a little bit this way. It kind of gives you a different view when you're looking at it from the outside and coaching it. But it's tough, it's tough.
1-0 in the dirt on the outside, 2 balls, no strikes. The batter is Jacoby Radcliffe. Tripled to deep right center and ended up scoring in the second and struck out in the third. 2 down in the inning. And then a Rashard Grace single gave the Jags a little bit of life. Fastball strike at the knees.
Colton, I assume you keep in somewhat close contact with at least some of the guys on this roster. Yeah, anybody in particular that you check in with frequently, or?
100%, yeah. I think I don't think it's anyone specific. Obviously, the guys that have been here as long as I have, I definitely keep in touch with them. But I try to talk to all of them. You got guys like Irvin Escobar, Yoansel Diaz, Manny Soufrain, Jamie Biafanye, just good pitch, great pitch.
Bocabello punches out Jacoby Radcliffe. We'll keep it right here through the inning break as we continue to be joined by Colton Olison up here in the broadcast booth. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left for the Jags. We go to the bottom of the 5th, and it is 7-5 Jags. Let's talk about the offensive side a little bit. It always seems like, especially the last 2 years, you would be up in all the situations with multiple guys on base, games on the line, and you'd come through more often than not. Is that a mentality thing, or is that just a practice until you get it right thing?
Oh, man, I think it's more of just a trust in what you do every day, It gets tough when you're going through it every single day, but it almost, for me, it got easier when the pressure was on. It got easier, and it got more fun. That's what you dream of as a kid, the 3-2 count with bases loaded and you're down 1, or the bases loaded, infield's in, and you got 2 strikes, you're 0-2, and you got to fight. I mean, that's kind of what someone, my player type, is used to, or what they have to go through. And I got used to that. Like I said, the pressure and the stuff that you gotta handle as not even just as a player myself, but just a college player in general. So I think the times where it's crunch time, it gets a little easier and a little more fun and intense for me. So I think that's what helped me get through it.
Cole, why don't you tell the people where you're at now, what you're doing now, some of the specifics?
What's that?
I know you're into coaching now. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about where specifically you're at, what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm based out of Tampa, Florida. I'm from, I'd say, Spring Hill area, which is about 45 minutes north of the Tampa area. Went to Northside Christian High School in St. Petersburg. Came to Bethune-Cookman at a high school, and obviously spent my 5 years here. And then right after I graduated in May, I came back home to Tampa, and I started coaching at A3 Academy. It's a homeschool academy. We're in the NAA conference, a bunch of homeschool academies like TNXL, Georgia Premier, Pro 5, just a bunch, Elite Squad Academy. There's 7 teams in there. And then I also coach a travel ball team, actually 2 of them, a 13-year-old team and a 14-year-old team. They are actually part of CBU. So CBU is a big travel ball org, especially in the summer. We have a bunch of teams from every age group, and I also have a 2027 class team that I'm going to be coaching this summer. But yeah, we're working right now with youth. High school obviously is going on, so we don't have high school teams until the summertime. But the youth has been great. A3 Academy has been great, and it's been a nice transition just being able to stay around the game. Like I said, I've been dreaming about it and just thinking about baseball a lot lately. So it keeps me invested. It keeps me around the game, and it's nice to be around it.
The count is 2-2 on Jorge Gonzalez Febo, who's 2 for 2, 2 singles, 1 up the middle and 1 to left. Grace kicks and deals, and Febo stays alive. As someone who has coached that age group, not in baseball but in soccer, working with kids like that, it humbles you a little bit. You know, it forces you to go back to your roots and relearn a little bit of the fundamentals yourself to be able to teach that.
No, it does, and it's nice to give back.
Fabo in the air, right center field. That one is going to get down for a base hit. Held up in the wind a little bit. Didn't go quite as far as I thought off the bat, but either way, Jorge Gonzalez Febo is now 3 for 3 on the evening.
Got just enough to squeak it over second base. Yeah, it's definitely a humbling experience just to get with the younger guys and enjoy it a little more. Not as much pressure like we were talking about earlier. It's more the fun side and kind of be the inspiration for these guys. You know, they look up to someone my age, a little younger in the coaching career, and it's nice to be able to have that impact on them.
Jorge Rodriguez watches one up and out at the letters. Rodriguez 0 for 2 tonight. Popped out to the shortstop to end the first, and then had a sac bunt to move Andre Martinez and Jorge Gonzalez Febo over, where they were eventually doubled in by Jesus Venegas, who stands on deck. Fouled straight back.
I'm curious. There may be no better person qualified than you, staying through as much as you did here, going through the COVID transition, choosing to stay, to be kind of an ambassador for this program, what it means, what the coaching staff means, what the environment of the university is. What kind of pitch do you think you would have to incoming athletes or maybe some of your younger guys who are starting to look at that college level when it comes to this program in particular?
To this program in particular, I mean, stick to the process. That's the biggest thing. It's very cliche, and it may seem very non-original to say trust the process, stick to the process, but it's all about the process.
Rodriguez in the air. That one's going to hang up.
That will not do it.
Center fielder Radcliffe, actually the right fielder Bird makes the catch. Trying to go to second is Fabo. He is out. Oh, he's safe.
Yep.
He was able to swim his hand in there under the tag. I thought he was out by a mile. Nice slide to get in there.
It's a rare tag up from first. How many times we see that out here?
It's a hustle. That's a hustle.
Not a ton unless the ball's hit down the third base line.
That is Wildcat baseball. That's all about the hustle right there. No, I think trust the process. You got to trust the process. Playing here, and not just here, but in college baseball in general, you got to learn to love the suck. You got to learn to love the bad times in the game. This game is not very generous. It's not very caring, and it has no sympathy for you. It's going to move on no matter if you're doing good or bad. So I think when you embrace the fact that it's not going to go your way all the time, it becomes a lot easier and it becomes enjoyable. When this game starts to become a job to you, it's a very tough game to play because you're not going to succeed at this job. When it's more of a game and more fun, it's when you start to have a little more success.
Jesus Venegas early on the breaking ball, late on the fastball, and he's down 0-2. Venegas tonight singled to third base and scored in the second, hit a ground rule double with 2 RBIs attached to it in the third and was stranded on third. Staring at an 0-2 count in the dirt. Beautiful night here at the Jack, high 60s, no clouds, not much wind. And the Wildcats trying to battle back, down 7-5. Runner goes. It's a hit and run, and that'll do the job. Into the gap in right center field. Fabo scores from second. In there to replace him is Venegas. And the Wildcats are down by just 1. It's 7-6.
And he is on fire tonight.
So, Cole, I don't know how early you got to the park and if you were here when Cats got down pretty early. What do you think the message starts offensively when you're down to be able to climb all the way back and get back in this game? When you're looking at that 5-0, 6-0, what are you saying to the guys in the dugout to try to, move things forward as you get further and further into the game?
Yeah, I think especially going down that early and going down with a guy on the bump that you have a lot of trust in. Going down by that much, it's not, you're not going to hit a 5-run home run, 6-run home run. I think the biggest thing is having quality at bats, making your time on offense as long as possible, taking balls, swinging at strikes, being aggressive in counts that you should be aggressive, just kind of doing what the game is asking you and kind of just being patient. That's the only way back in the ballgame. And like we've done, I've been here since about the third inning, and we've done a great job at swinging at pitches we should and taking pitches we should. That's the key of getting back in the ballgame when you're down like that early.
Yeah. And you look at the stats, and Southern has a team ERA over 10, and you look at that and you think, well, no matter how far we're down, we should be able to hit our way back into it. But again, it's about the mentality, and it's about holding yourself to the standard of getting yourself back in that game. And I know that's what Coach Hernandez likes to preach a lot.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to the family part of it. It could have been very easy for Tanner Bocabella to come back in here after a 5-spot, 6-spot, and just roll over and kind of let them blow it open. But he's got back on the mound, and it seems like he's settled in here. And that's all you can ask for from a Friday night starter. And on the opposite side of it, on the offensive side, just getting back in the game for him. It's giving your Friday night guy a lot of confidence to get back in there and letting him know that you guys are still there working for him. It's all, like I said, it's confidence, and when you have that family behind you, you're ready to work. You're ready to work for them. You guys go through a lot, so he's seems like he's got his groove, and he's back on the bump, ready to go. So,
Irvin Escobar at the plate. Tying run, Venegas at second. Escobar fouls it away, trying to wait on that breaking ball. Of all the years that you were here, Colton, you got to have a couple of memories that stand out. What's one that coming back to this park brings back to you?
Oh, it's a tough one. Well,
Escobar ground ball to second. That'll at least get the runner to third. A ground out by Escobar, and there's 2 away.
I think a very, very fun trip that I always remember is the LSU trip. LSU was a great experience. It's very fun to play in, and not everyone can say they played in that type of atmosphere. So I think overall that trip was fun, man.
Almost took a game. Almost won that Friday night.
Almost took a game. And having a friend or two on the LSU team and getting to see them and how they found success that year and getting to play against them was also a great time. So I think the LSU trip was definitely a staple in my time here.
Jeter Poyeto bats now. Tying run on third, 2 down. Poyeto 0 for 2 with 2 ground outs, 1 to second, 1 to third. Base hit ties the game here. Here's the 0-1. He puts one in the gap. In the air, left center field and deep. That is going to hop the wall. Trying to stretch it to a triple is Jeter Poyeto. He's in there, and the game is tied at 7.
Well, we talked about it, and Colton, you mentioned it. A lot of it's a confidence thing, and it's very clear that, much like the Alcorn series a couple weeks ago, that this team came into this offensively and said, we've got the confidence. Whatever the pitching allows, we know we've got the bats to back it up. And it's one thing we've talked about in this season is the way the offense, and I don't know how closely necessarily you followed every game for this team, but they're much more offensive-minded this year than they have been in years past, where they're not always relying on the one-run games, the 2-run games when they're started. They'll go out and they'll say, we'll slug to it if we need to.
Yeah, and I think that's been very beneficial for them. I think early in the season, I was seeing them take that approach, but they weren't being as aggressive on the bases. In this game, I've seen, and the past couple games, I've seen them moving a little bit more on the bases, taking bases that they should, and that's Wildcat baseball, playing fast and having fun. So I think that's just adding to the power that they've kind of added to the lineup this year, being quick on the bases, stealing when they need to, and hitting for some slugging. That's kind of what we missed in the past couple years. Maybe 2 years ago we've had it, but slugging is always a huge thing that we've kind of missed out on. And I think they have that this year.
Sergio Rivera watches one low. The count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Rivera on the evening popped out behind the plate to the catcher and then doubled to center field, stole third, and scored on the RBI groundout by Darrell Lee back in the third. He's ahead in the count 2-1 on Grace. And he hits one in the air, left field and deep. That ball is off the wall. 3 straight extra base hits for Bethune-Cookman, and the Wildcats have come all the way back to take an 8-7 lead.
Just early on in this game, you just didn't necessarily see this coming. It felt like the shoulders were down a little bit. The morale wasn't great, but sure enough, you picked away and you picked away at it and completely have flipped the narrative of what could have been a really tough start to a series on its head. And again, it's just the kind of team that this is, right? You're not out of luck if you're, down 3-4 runs, or if you're at that certain wall. They feel like they can come back from anything. It's a team playing with a lot of confidence right now.
I want to pick your brain about something Coach Hernandez tells us a lot. It's get to the bullpen, get to the bullpen, get to the bullpen. He doesn't often tell us what he says next, because now you've got to the bullpen with Grace coming out of the game. What would be the message now?
Yeah, so I think getting that starter is huge, especially in weekend series. You get the starter out of the bullpen, and you get to the bullpen. Now you take 2, 3, maybe 4 relievers in this Friday night game. It's going to be hard for them to turn around tomorrow. They may have 1, maybe 2 more guys coming out tomorrow, but they're left pretty empty for the rest of the weekend. So you get to the bullpen early on Friday night, sets you up for the rest of the weekend. And obviously you get to the bullpen Friday night. That means you're doing something well and hopefully coming out with a win that Friday night. And now they're in the corner on their backs, and they got to figure something out for the next 2 days. So I think it's huge getting that starter out of the game early.
The new pitcher for Southern is the sophomore out of Plano, Texas, Peyton Huff. Huff, a 4.40 ERA, 8 appearances with no starts. 14 1/3 innings pitched. He's definitely their best arm out of the bullpen. He's allowed 7 runs on 12 hits, all earned, striking out 22 and walking 7. He's allowed no extra base hits except 1 homer, and his opponent batting average is .218. So you don't necessarily lose a lot numbers-wise going from Grace to Huff, but the drop-off after that is pretty precipitous. The next man down the order with as many innings pitched as Huff is Genesis Prosper. His ERA is 6.98. Below that, you get Calden Stewart with a 20 ERA. So if they can keep working and get Huff out of there quickly, Wildcats could be in for a good back end of their Friday night.
And when you play with as much emotion as Southern does, you take all the highs of when it's going good, they got to be careful now not to make the lows dip even further.
And a new pitcher, and Armani Newton is going to come in to pinch hit for the Wildcats. The FGCU transfer is going to bat in the 9 spot here for Daniel Figueroa, who finishes his day 1 for 2, a double and a strikeout. The Wildcats have come all the way back. They lead this one 8-7, already 3 runs in this inning, and the potential to threaten for more. That's an 88-mile-an-hour fastball up and away to Newton from Peyton Huff, the sophomore out of Plano, Texas.
Yeah, and I think this is a huge at-bat right here, especially getting this 9th run across the board with a Southern team that can kind of swing it. I mean, they've been
in the air, shallow center. Coming in is
Radcliffe,
and it drops. It's an RBI single for Armani Newton. He comes through. Scoring from second is Rivera. 9-7 Wildcats.
To do as much as they've done with 2 outs, I mean, you just continue to see the resiliency. That's the exact kind of stuff that has not necessarily been there in years past, in games past, where once you get to 2 outs, you're not necessarily scrapping something together from scratch. It takes a little more than that, but there's been a ton of grit from this lineup tonight.
Darrell Lee watches a ball in the dirt. That'll be an easy stolen base for Armani Newton. In the inning for the Wildcats, Fabo led off with a base hit to right. Rodriguez flied out to right. That moved Fabo to second. Venegas doubled him in. Escobar grounded out. Poyeto tripled in Venegas, Rivera doubled in Poyeto, and now Newton singled in Rivera. You mentioned it, Bryce. A lot of that with 2 outs. And Darrell Lee at the plate right now, 0 for 3 with an RBI ground out. Someone in desperate need of a hit who's been the hottest bat on the team over the past 2 weeks. The righty Peyton Huff deals. Sky-high pop, foul territory, third base side. It will barely go out of play, and it's just a long strike, a ball and 2 strikes to Darrell Lee. Colton, I've been wanted to ask this question of somebody who was on one of those teams for a while. 2 years ago, you had the pleasure of playing with Nolan Santos, who's now just 2 steps below the major leagues as a pitcher. What was it like to know that every Friday night you had a first-round MLB draft pick on the mound?
Yeah, Nolan being one of my close friends, it was nice. You know, it's nice seeing him progress, and with him especially, I was rooting for the guy. You know, he comes into Bethune-Cookman as a freshman, kind of mid-80s, after having a great high school career, and kind of not what he was wanting or expecting. And to see what he did and to see how hard he worked over the course of 3-4 years, it just made me proud as a friend and happy for him, just to see everything he accomplished and to see that he got what he set out for. I mean, I couldn't be happy for anyone else, because he's probably one of the most humble kids you'll ever meet, and he's one of the best kids and most well-mannered guys you'll ever be around. So I was just very happy to see that he did what he set out to do and everything like that.
Payoff to Lee, checks it, doesn't swing, and we have the inning continue as Darrell Lee gets on base for the first time tonight via the walk. That's such a tough pitch to lay off of. Even up here, it looked like that was going to catch the bottom of the zone. If you can believe it, that's the first walk of the evening for the Wildcats. And now Andre Martinez is the 9th batter of the inning for Bethune-Cookman, who've rallied. Whoa, that's a bit of an ugly swing. Ball in the dirt. 2 runners go.
Safe.
And safe with a swim move on the double steal is Darrell Lee, showing off the agility right there as Armani Newton takes third. So now second and third with 2 outs, and a base hit by Martinez brings in 2 more. So we're going to get a meeting and just trying to probably calm Andre Martinez down. It's a big spot here. You want as big of a gap as you can, because you know Southern's going to keep swinging the bat. They're not going to go away.
Well, you were here, Colton, last year for these kind of between at-bats, pre-at-bat meetings with Coach Cartaya. What kind of stuff goes down in those little, taking you aside type moments?
Yeah, I mean, you can already expect Martinez has swung at a couple balls in the dirt. This at-bat and last at-bat combined, I think he's just slowing him down a little bit. Tell him to take a deep breath and not trying to do too much. Obviously, like we had talked about, we're trying to...
Ground ball to third. That should be the end of the inning. Bates across the diamond. A nice pick by Jones. But the Wildcats jump on top. 4 runs, 5 hits, 2 left. And we go to the 6th inning. It's now Wildcats 9, Jaguars 7. Colton, we're going to let you go. Enjoy the rest of the game. Thank you so much for joining us here on the CatEye Network broadcast. And if you ever want to come back, you got a space up here in the booth with us.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys letting me get on the mic for a little bit, and hail Wildcats.
Thank you, Colton. Well, the Wildcats have rallied in this ball game to take a 9-7 lead over the Southern Jaguars. Game 1 of this 3-game SWAC Conference Series here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark. Tanner Bocabello is still on the hill facing Benny Bakar, the 9-hole hitting shortstop. Bakar on the night, an RBI flyout to center, right, and then singled in the 4th, came around to score. Counts 2 balls, no strikes with Bocabello. At 95 pitches, there is some serious action going in the Wildcat bullpen. You got to think the leash is pretty short. Bakar takes a 3-0 pitch now.
Certainly a whole different looking ball game than it was just a couple of innings ago. So certainly some guys who thought they might have been off the hook for the night. Looking at Giancarlo Zambrano, some others.
There's a strike outside corner 3-1. I think that's Zambrano warming down in the pen.
Yeah, he's been the go-to guy and a good one to come out of the pen. Guy who can give you a bunch of innings too if need be.
Fastball down Broadway. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Bakar. With the ever dangerous top of this Southern order awaiting in the wings. The 3-2. Ball 4 misses outside. And here we go. The top of the order, the top 2, KJ White and Cardell Thibodeau,
Second baseman number 5, KJ White,
are 5 for 5 with a walk and 5 runs scored.
Well, again, we said when it's going good, they're going to swing the bat. When it's going bad, they're going to swing the bat. Southern is not going to let up.
First pitch, strike to KJ White. 3 singles in the game for White and 3 runs scored. All of them slow ground balls to short that because of White's speed, the Wildcats just didn't have an answer for. No balls, 1 strike. Bocabella going right at KJ White. I think he knows this is his last inning and wants to go out with a bang here.
See a tick up in the miles per hour. A little bit more on the breaking ball.
That time he tried to get a swing with an upstairs fastball at 90. It was interesting to hear Colton talk about the trajectory of Nolan Santos, and it almost kind of mirrors Tanner Bocabello. The tick up in velocity, the better breaking stuff, as that one's fouled straight back. Count holds 1-2.
Of course, Bocabello refined a lot of that really raw stuff at the JUCO level, whereas Santos comes here, it's thrown into the fire a little bit, maybe even earlier than he thought in his sophomore year. And then once you saw the potential there, just rocketed up the rotation.
Fastball low. And he really won that Friday night job last year in training camp before we even got to the regular season.
That's not an easy spot. I mean, you see a Friday starter, that's your guy.
3 balls, 2 strikes as KJ White has recovered from a tough start to the AB with a couple of foul-offs and some disciplined plate appearances. And I think if he walks, the change might come pretty quick with Thibodeau awaiting on deck. The 3-2. Throw back to first. Safe is Bakar. KJ White, the junior from Ellenwood, Georgia. Time is called by White, the Southern left-handed batter. A former Westlake High School product in Georgia. KJ White named to the MPB HBCU All-Star Game last year, one of 5 Southern players to do so. As he stares at a 3-2 from Tanner Bocabello. Martinez tumbles over the back of Bakar, who slides back in. And we'll do the 3-2 once again.
I'm still very interested. I'm glad we have the benefit of a win now that we can ask these questions, or, you know, you have the possibility of talking to Coach after.
Ball 4, 2 straight walks to begin the inning, and oh boy, here we go again. Cardell Thibodeau is coming to the plate.
to finish my point, I hope we get a chance to ask about the defensive change there, the first and third swap, because even the pickoff attempts have felt calmer and better and more in control once those two guys flipped.
Southern in a perfect spot.
Now batting number 2, designated hitter Cardell Thibodeau.
To get right back in it. Thibodeau, 2 for 2 with a walk and 2 runs scored. Both runners going on the hit and run that's fouled away 0-1. Thibodeau walked and scored in the first on the lucky sac fly. Walked, went from first to second on an error. Sorry, RBI single in the second, went from first to second on an error, scored on the error by Martinez on the infield at third base. Oh, 1. Ground ball up the middle, could be 2, but it bounces off the glove of Venegas and everybody is safe.
Well, got lucky with that second bounce that it was even that close at second. Tries to kind of make the glove flip over to Poyeto at second. Kind of close quarters. But man, that's killer. I mean, you go from a runner on third and 2 out to bases loaded and nobody out.
And they're going to call it an error, the 5th of the game for Bethune-Cookman. Bases loaded, nobody out, and that will probably be the night for Tanner Bocabello. Yes, he allowed some stuff to be barreled up, but man, 5 errors behind him. He's going to have to feel hard done by his defense this evening.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, it sucks, it's unfortunate, but sometimes as a starter, especially as a Friday night guy, you just kind of have to live with it. And not only do you have to live with it in terms of your own personal stats, but as that Friday guy, you are then put in this spot where you're like, well, it's my job to shoulder this, right? It's my job that it doesn't matter. I want to be that good to where I can pick up my defense no matter how bad it gets. And I think he did a pretty valiant job of that. I mean, Colton mentioned it a little bit. There was a very real possibility of this thing teetering and going way south way quicker than it did. And for Bocabello to settle down as much as he has, give his bats enough of a runway to climb their way back into this, I give him a ton of credit for that. That's that Friday night mentality really showing out.
The new Wildcat pitcher will be, as we expected, Giancarlos Zambrano, making his 9th appearance of the season. Zambrano, 21 innings pitched, a 1.71 ERA. He has been the man out of a bullpen that has been so banged up with so many guys out to start the year, just now barely getting some of those arms back. And a lot of those arms, like a Pablo Torres, are still out.
What a revelation this guy has been at the top of this BCU bullpen. I mean, he's given you distance. We've talked about it, giving you probably something to think about should you need a starter, a spot starter in the playoffs, or if somebody falls out of favor in the Saturday or Sunday spot to take over. His stuff has been great. The velocity's been good. And one of the things that's most important now that he's shown is the ability to work out of jams like this. Some of them have been to his own doing, early on in the season. One of the first times we saw him, he loads the bases with nobody out, climbs all the way back, and gets out with nothing. Well, he's gotten a couple of opportunities like that since then where he's come in to try to clean things up, try to limit the damage with the bases juiced. Now maybe no bigger spot than he's seen thus far this year, but he's got the stuff, he's got the control to really save you a lot of what could be some big-time heartache in an opportunity like this.
The batter will be Taj Bates. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first. Reached on an error in the second, was thrown out trying to go from second to third on a nice throw from right field. And then grounded into a 4-6-3 double play in the first. First pitch from Zambrano is outside, ball 1. Zambrano to go along with that 1.71 ERA. 5 runs on 12 hits, 4 earned. And that is maybe the best breaking ball anybody on this staff has. for strike one. 21 strikeouts, 5 walks for Zambrano. Has allowed 2 doubles, no triples, 2 homers. Just 1 wild pitch. And he gets Bates to foul it off. Bates came into the game tonight tied for the team lead in RBI with 29. And he has a chance to take a massive lead in that category. Bases loaded, nobody out. Zambrano ahead, 1-2. Breaking ball, cut on a miss. Goodbye, Taj Bates, one away.
And that's the kind of stuff we talk about. I mean, he has some of, if not the best swing and miss stuff on this roster, especially with Pablo Torres out. I mean, those are the 2 guys at the very top. You talk about potentially getting them 2 at the back end of the bullpen by the time you get towards the SWAC tournament. I mean, that's guys that, especially these SWAC batters, you're just not used to seeing that, especially these teams that don't see your Floridas and your Florida States and your Miamis in the midweek. You don't see that caliber of arm or that caliber of pitch.
Breaking ball, nowhere near it was Jalen Lucky for strike one. I mean, you talk about some of the midweek competition. I mean, it's not been nowhere for Southern. They played LSU, they've played Missouri, they've played St. Peter's, they've played Mercer, Louisiana Lafayette, Incarnate Word, and McNeese. Pop up, right field. That should get a run in. The catch is made by Newton. He throws it to the plate. It is not in time. Stumbling home from third is Benny Bakar, and it's back to a 1-run game at 9-8.
And it's just something about the calming presence of Zambrano on the mound. I mean, there's another one right there where if you tell me that's all you get out of this one with, that is job well done. Easy fly, not even challenging your outfield. Just feels in control with every pitch he throws, every bit of contact allowed. I mean, a really great big situation pitcher.
Here's Cameron Bird, 1 for 3. Still 2 on, 2 out. Still a dangerous spot for Zambrano as he misses outside with the fastball for ball 1. Bird singled to center in the first. Struck out in the third, grounded out to short in the 5th. But the Wildcats 1 out away from getting out of this inning with the lead intact at 9-8 and a chance to go back to work. A throw to first. Martinez wasn't even in the right position, but he scrambles back. These are the kind of games you thought you were going to get from Southern. High scoring, lots of offense, lots of pressure every inning. 1-0. Breaking ball misses 2-0. I think there's only been 1 inning where Southern didn't get a runner in scoring position. It was the 3rd, where they had that 1 hit with 2 outs, and then Radcliffe struck out to end the frame.
And if we said the Alcorn games felt like tournament games in some of those blowouts because of how bad the bullpen was.
Another slider misses. 3 balls, no strikes, and Zambrano's in danger of loading the bases back up.
If we said those Alcorn games felt like a tournament game on the bad side when some of those blowouts we've seen, this is the opposite. I mean, this feels like a game where the Wildcats many times have had no answer, but this time going toe-to-toe, really dueling this one out.
Soft pickoff attempt at second. KJ White is there. Thibodeau is at first. Bakar already in the inning after leading off with a walk. Zambrano comes home with a 3-0. Fastball right down the middle, 3-1. What does it say about the confidence of Cameron Bird that he almost walked to first on that? Zambrano shakes off a call from Escobar. Now comes home with it. Fastball upstairs, ball 4, bases loaded again. Only the 5th walk of the season for Zambrano.
Now batting first baseman number 25, Dylan Jones.
And 3 walks in the inning for the Wildcats, where they'd only had 1 in the game to that point. White on third, Thibodeau on second, Bird on first. The batter is Dylan Jones, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Fastball outside corner, strike 1. You do lose a tick in velocity from Bocabello to Zambrano. Bocabella will touch the low to mid 90s with the fastball. Zambrano maybe will touch 90 on his best pitch. 0-1. Zambrano was more the trickery guy with those breaking balls. If he gets ahead in the count, watch out. Jones struck out in the first, flied out to center in the third, and grounded out to third in the fifth. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball, that's the slider in the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wildcats trying to get out with the lead intact, up 9-8, bases loaded here in the top of the 6th. Zambrano, did he go? No, and the count is 2-2. We will see another pressure-impacted couple of pitches here. Struck him out! Slider away! Zambrano gives up 1, but mostly gets out of it unscathed. And the Wildcats lead 9-8. More runs necessary, you feel, for the Wildcats to take this one as we go to the bottom of the 6th here on the CatEye Network. Well, the Wildcats have a 9-8 lead, and key in that was their 4-run fifth, where they sent 9 to the plate. So for the second straight inning, Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo leads off. Squares to bunt, takes a ball low from Peyton Huff, the pitcher for Southern. Huff starting his second inning of work. Came in after all 4 runs were in for the Wildcats in the last inning and got out of it. And he gets a big swing and miss from Fabo, who's hunting the fences. What you can't do right now is give Huff a quick inning. He is the best arm they've got out of the bullpen. If you can force him to go long tonight and maybe save yourself from him the next 2 games, that would be big. 1-1. That one will catch the outside corner of the zone. Little slider at 75. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Fabo, who is 3 for 3 tonight. 1 base hit to left, 1 base hit to center, 1 base hit to right. He's behind 1-2. And now he strikes out. Ball in the dirt. The K will be completed by Grace throwing to Jones at first, 1 away. First strikeout for Huff on the night.
Well, you mentioned it. I mean, not only is it a setup for success later this weekend if you can get him out of the game, but you get a whole lot easier once you get out, from under his thumb on the mound. It's an adventure behind him. So if you feel that you need a couple more runs, and it feels like you might, it all starts with getting him out of the game.
Fastball at 87 to Jorge Rodriguez, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Flied out to right, popped up to short, and then a sac bunt in the third. Ball one low. Final line on Renard Grace. 4 2/3 innings, 109 pitches, gave up 9 runs on 12 hits, all earned, struck out 4. And then gave way to Huff, who's 15 pitches into his work this evening. Missed with the breaking ball that time. 2 balls a strike. The big hitters in this lineup, specifically Jorge Rodriguez, have not really been there tonight. It's been everybody else to pick it up. That one is high and deep into the Daytona Beach night. Adios, amigos, into the batting cages down the left field line. And the Wildcats do extend the lead. It's 10-8.
Well, right when you called him out, right, he decides to send one about as far as any we've seen this season, just about over that batting cage over there in left. And that is a different element that this Wildcats team, you know, Colton talked a little bit about it when he was up here, is kind of thing that you can do late in these games. Just give yourself that extra little pump. It doesn't always take a rally, and you don't want to rely on the long ball for every bit you have, but it sure is a luxury when you can put one across without having to put anyone on the bases.
It's nice to have that in the back pocket, though. Didn't have that in the last couple of years.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a completely different look, and we haven't talked about it a ton, but it changes everything, even the way the pitchers have to approach everybody else in the lineup, even with just a couple of bats with pop.
Jesus Venegas, first pitch swimming. Whoa. He's 3 for 3 tonight. He's maybe had the best night offensively for the Wildcats. Single to third and scored in the second. 2 RBI ground rule double in the third. And then a RBI double and came around to score as well in the fifth. And he's behind 0-2 after waving on an 87-mile-an-hour fastball.
But see, think about how many guys in the lineup, whether it's guys like Figueroa all the way down at the bottom or even Fabo in the third spot, see better pitches because there's power arms behind, or power bats, I should say, behind them. Right? Like a big part of why maybe Figueroa or whoever has been batting ninth, of course, it was Poyeto early in the season, have seen so much success is because you've got Darrell Lee at the top who can show some pop even out of the leadoff spot or give you a double or two. And everybody's got it, and everybody's got to see better pitches as a result. You can't walk guys in front of power bats.
Good couple of takes by Venegas to work the count back to 2-2. 1 in the inning already on the Rodriguez solo home run. Fabo led off the inning with a strikeout. Now here's the 2-2 to Venegas from Peyton Huff. The tall, lanky righty will stretch and deal. Big cut and miss. That would have been ball 3, excuse me. But Venegas goes down on strikes. 2 strikeouts in the inning, sandwiching the home run. And now here's Irvin Escobar, who's 1 for 3. Had the loud triple and scored on a wild pitch in the second, but since then has flied out to left and grounded out on the infield. And he's got the bases empty with 2 away. Wildcats up 10-8. You feel that might not even be enough. With 9 more outs still to get on the defensive side for the Wildcats.
Yeah, we're far from done. We talked about it over the break. It feels like we've been here forever, which is usually what you say in a boring game, but it feels like we've lived 2 games worth of drama and excitement in this one.
That's SWAC baseball for you. Speaking of, I haven't gone around the SWAC yet tonight. I gotta figure that out.
Been a busy one up here tonight.
Oh, yeah. Mississippi Valley has clinched a series for the first time this year. They take the first 2 from Alcorn State. They had one last night. Well, they won 13-11. And they won today. Delta Devils over Braves 16-13.
You know, we did always talk about one of those things when we talked about the East versus West, as we always said, well, we've got Valley at the bottom, and a lot of people look at Valley and they say, well, it's Valley. But our bottom in Valley is a lot better than what has been the bottom, whether it's Pine Bluff or Alcorn State in the West.
Or even Southern at times.
I'm happy to see Valley getting out there, getting some West competition, get some wins in there. It's a gritty little program, man, and they get some players, it seems like.
It's funny, like, you talk about it, but if Valley takes care of business against the teams that we perceive to be better, they could be sneaking a tournament bid here coming down the end of the season.
Yep, they've gotten kind of screwed the last couple of years because you're in the side of the bracket that's got 3, if not 4 of the top 4 teams in the conference, right? So finally getting a little bit of a break, they might appreciate the switch even more than we do. We've been calling it for years.
3 balls, no strikes now to Irvin Escobar as that breaking ball finds wanting. Other matchups tonight, I mean, there are some incredible matchups this weekend. Jackson State hosting Grambling State. Florida A&M hosting Prairie View. And, of course, this one here at the Jack highlights the best matchups of the weekend. I'll see if I can pick out some numbers for you. It was a doubleheader, Jackson and Grambling. So over the inning break, I'll see if I can dig some of those scores up. 3-1. Babes on balls. I thought that was going to be a strike. No. Our angle's not the best, but Irvin Escobar takes his base. And the Wildcats have a 2-out base runner. Here's Jeter Polledo. Polledo, 2 grounds outs to the infield, 1 to second, 1 to third, and then, of course, had the RBI triple back in the last inning. Came around to score on the Rivera double. As the Wildcats trying to get to Peyton Huff out of the bullpen here for Southern. Every time, it seems, over the last couple innings, the Wildcats are first pitch swinging. They rarely make contact. And it seems that Huff has used that to his advantage. His first pitches have been high fastballs almost every time. That's a tough one to grab.
Yeah, Polledo way behind that one, as a lot of the Wildcats have been early in these at-bats.
That time he grounds one towards short. Backhanded by Bakar, throws to second to end the inning. Well, run on the Rodriguez home run on 1 hit and 1 left. And we go to the 7th. Wildcats still with work to do, up 10-8 here on the CatEye Network. Top of the 7th here in Daytona Beach. It's Bethune-Cookman 10, Southern University 8 in the first game of this 3-game series. It'll be a long day at the ballpark tomorrow. Doubleheader starting at 3 p.m. as we look to get this series in ahead of the rain that is forecasted for Sunday. Giancarlo Zambrano continues to be on the mound for the Wildcats. He faces Richard Grace. 2 for 3 tonight, 2 singles, 1 to right, 1 to left, and a strikeout. Fastball strike for Zambrano. Here's your Around the SWAC update, as I promised in the last inning. In the first game of the doubleheader, Grambling State beat Jackson State 8-1. Punched to the left side of the infield. Fabo is there. And that's a soft line out for out number 1. How thankful we are that the first man doesn't get on base.
And also how thankful that Fabo is over at third base now. I mean, you see the confidence to see that one all the way, call your shortstop off, who, you know, on paper you see a line drive like that, you might think he would have a better angle at it, but Fabo calls him off all the way, just cool, calm, and collected.
Now here's Jacoby Radcliffe, tripled and scored in the second, and then has struck out twice. Both of those credited to Tanner Bocabello. In the second game in Jackson, Mississippi, right now it's Jackson State 1, Grambling State 0, bottom of the 4th. There's a strike, 1-1. We talked about if Prairie View A&M was legit. They got a chance to prove it tonight against Florida A&M. Florida A&M won 10-0. It'll be an interesting series to see how the rest of it shakes out. Outside 2-2. And par for the course, I have no live stats for Pine Bluff or from Valley.
Shocked. I am shocked.
3 balls, 2 strikes. The count after that one misses low. Three-two. Ball 4. That's the second walk charged to Zambrano in his outing. He only had 5 in 21 innings pitched previously on the season.
And he's a lot like many of these arms in the Wildcats bullpen, that they trade off in a bit of command what they make up for in stuff, a lot of times in velocity. He's not quite as extreme of an example of that as some others in this pen are, but certainly has that in there.
The batter is Benny Bakar. RBI sac fly in the second for Bakar. Singled to left and scored in the 4th. Walked and scored in the 6th. And Coach Hernandez is talking to home plate umpire Vincent Cressier. Not sure what that conversation was about. We're back to playing. Other umpires tonight, Kenneth Jackson is at first. Royce Morrison is the third base umpire. And we're still waiting for the first pitch to Bakar after 2 pickoff attempts over to first and Jacoby Ratcliffe. We know he can fly after he hit that triple in the 2nd inning. Way outside. And if you're the Wildcats, you would love for Zambrano to finish off the rest of this game, get 9 outs, get out of here. I don't think it's going to be that simple.
Especially because even now you look at it, he's probably not going to pitch tomorrow unless some extreme circumstances make it necessary.
Third pickoff attempt to the AB. One-0 the count, runner goes. It's a hit and run. The ball is popped up into shallow left. Coming on to make the catch is Lee, 2 away. There have been so much small ball played by Southern tonight. Hit and run, steals, bunts.
And we knew it. I mean, they have a fair share of home runs, but that's not necessarily their ideal offensive game plan. I mean, they just want to terrorize you on the base paths.
Breaking ball, first pitch, a strike, and we're once again back to the top of the order. KJ White and Cardell Thibodeau have got on base every time. That's 8 times between them, and they've scored 5 of the 8 Southern runs. Another check on Bakar at first. Zambrano from the stretch will throw back to first again. Just the pickoffs from Zambrano look so much cleaner than the ones from Bocabello, and I find it odd because Tanner usually is pretty consistent with those, but he had 2 errors on failed pickoff attempts in the ballgame. There goes the runner. There's the throw down to second. The ball skips off of the chest of Poyeto as he had to play hockey goalie to prevent that one from going into center field.
And see, when you go for those pickoff attempts, it's often not to try to get the out, right? Because most of the time you're assuming you're not going to. There's too many guys who are too smart over there, too quick. Most of the time they're going to get back. You're trying to save yourself a step or 2 so that you have a chance on that one. But you see there, look how fast he gets down there.
Ground ball up the middle. Charging is Poyeto. And the Wildcats get out of it. No runs, no hits, 1 left. The Wildcats continue to try and extend their 10-8 lead in the bottom of the 7th when we come back. This is Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the CatEye Network. New pitcher for the Jags as we go to the bottom of the 7th. It's the freshman Stephen Tolbert out of South Haven, Mississippi, and South Haven High School. Sergio Rivera will be the first man to face the new pitcher. Only 4 innings pitched and 3 appearances on the season for Tolbert. His ERA is ballooned up at 15.75. First pitch from Tolbert, not bad on the velocity, 88 miles an hour on the fastball, low for ball 1. 1 inning against LSU, 1 inning against Mercer, 2 innings against Mercer, and 1 last Tuesday against McNeese for Tolbert on the season. There's a fastball at the waist. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's allowed 7 runs on 7 hits, all earned, walking 6, striking out 3, allowing 1 double and 1 triple in that time. From the stretch, the 1-1 is low, 2-1. And when you get pitchers with numbers like this, especially in conference play, the theme is patience. Let them take themselves out the game. Especially when you got guys with a negative strikeout to walk ratio like Tolbert has. Here's the 2-1. Way upstairs on the breaking ball. First one he's thrown, 3-1. Rivera tonight popped up behind the plate to the catcher in the 2nd, then doubled and scored in the 4th, had an RBI double, and came around to score in the 5th. 3-1. Ball 4 up and in, and the Wildcats have a base runner with nobody out.
Well, that's where the Wildcats have often haunted the back ends of these SWAC bullpens. And it's not necessarily been with the base hits. It's been with the hit-by pitches, and it's been with the walks. And that's how you get it started, and that's how you just continue. You know, it still feels like you need probably a couple more at least before you feel great about it. And I don't think you'll ever feel great about it. But that's how you get it started.
Newton squares to bunt, pulls it back, ball 1. Armani Newton, who came in place of Daniel Figueroa in the 5th inning. He was the first man to face Peyton Huff, and all he did was hit an RBI single back up the middle. Now in his 2nd at-bat of the evening. Newton, the transfer from Florida Gulf Coast. Runner goes. There's the throw down to 2nd. And almost sliding past the bag. And past the bag is Sergio Rivera. He's out.
Well, we've seen that a couple of times tonight. At least a couple of times where the defender has tried to nab him on the backside. That's where, you know, you kick yourself a little bit because you had it stolen. And the speed or the lack of, you know, spatial awareness, whatever you want to call it, cost you what could have been a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
1-1 is low, 2-1. And I think that's, I don't know, maybe you blame the turf for that too.
Definitely.
Because you slide farther on the turf than you would on grass or dirt.
But with a team that practices here, you know, every day, you know what to expect.
And he could have started the slide earlier. He was way ahead of the throw. Of course, in the heat of the moment, there's no real way to know that.
It's also, I mean, that's what you get what you pay for, right? When you're trying to be that overly aggressive, whether it's team as a whole or Rivera just on the base pass tonight. I mean, you're due for that sometimes.
Newton in the air, right center field and deep. That is bouncing off the wall. Newton on his horse. He's going to 3rd. He'll slide in safely as he hooks the bag. Well, how about that? Armani Newton off the bench has an RBI single and a triple in his 2 plate appearances. But you feel now that Sergio Rivera should be walking into the dugout with the 11th run instead of being caught stealing.
And that's a lot like the triple we saw from Puedo earlier in this game, where it's not necessarily your typical triple where you got to have a little bit of bounce luck or a weird kick off the wall. That one was just, it hit so high, stayed in the air for so long, and eventually hits that perfect spot where it doesn't bounce a ton, plops his place down in the middle of the 2 defenders, and he's halfway to 3rd before it's even on the ground.
1 out, a runner on 3rd now. The batter is Darrell Lee. Lee 0 for 3 with a walk. Flied out in the 1st, struck out in the 2nd, had an RBI ground out in the 4th, reached on a walk and stole 2nd in the 5th before eventually being stranded there. And we've got a meeting on the mound. Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at at Nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Make sure you are representing Bethune-Cookman University Athletics to the fullest. Buy the latest BCU gear online at the Bethune-Cookman online store. Go to bcuathletics.com and click on Shop to find the newest BCU clothing and apparel. That's bcuathletics.com and click on Shop. Nobody warming in the Southern bullpen. It is all on Tolbert right now.
What a switch, and really so much left to be decided. I was going to say what a switch to the narrative of tonight's game, but it could flip 3 more times before we're done.
Fastball outside and low, 1-1 on Lee. And the stuff is not bad from Tolbert. He's just a little bit wild with it. Touching the high 80s, maybe catch a 90 in there with the fastball, and then drops the breaking ball in there at 80 miles an hour, completely fooling Lee, and it's 1-2. All Lee needs to really do is put the ball in play, and the Wildcats have their 11th run. And that one is chopped foul. Count holds 1-2, and here we go again. How many times tonight have we had a 1-2 count last 5, 6, 7 pitches? Wildcats looking to take the first game of this series, a doubleheader tomorrow starting at 3 p.m. The 1-2 against Lee. Gets away, kicks off the catcher's foot, and that'll be the run anyway. Second wild pitch of the night allows a run to score. Escobar have one in the second. Now Newton comes home in the third. So we've gotten triple wild pitch twice tonight. How often do you see that?
Well, that's one that, as much as we love to give the backstop its due here, that's one that in any ballpark is a wild enough pitch that's getting you home. Just an unfortunate bounce. Goes almost all the way down to the BCU dugout, and the run scores pretty easily.
I thought that hit Lee's foot for a second, but the home plate umpire, Vincent Cressier, was certain that it hit the catcher's foot. So the Wildcats are up 11-8. The count's now 3-2 on Lee after a ball outside. Tolbert deals. Lee stays alive. Nice catch in the Southern University dugout out there. Trying to catch who that was. Kenneth Jackson, the sophomore right-handed pitcher, with a nice snag to save somebody's head in the dugout. 3-2 again. Lee rockets one into right field. There's a base hit. Nice at-bat by Lee. He's going to take a big turn at first and then retreat.
Darrell Lee is, how great has he been? I mean, we sing his praises every time he's been up to the plate, but we came into the season with Coach Hernandez really saying, well, we want to employ the modern baseball thing, where we want to have our best hitter leading off. And at the beginning of the season, that was Manny Sufrain. He offered you the power option. He could get on base via the walks and hit by pitches. Of course, goes down with the injury, but even before then, Darrell Lee already starts to emerge as a guy can do it all, too.
Andre Martinez misses on a bunt. There's a steal attempt, and way out is Lee. Second caught stealing of the inning for the Wildcats. Oh, my goodness. That one seemed like a late call, and one that Coach Hernandez, I think, may regret. Because Lee, with his speed, should not be that far behind the play. So now there's 2 outs, bases empty for Martinez. The Wildcats have left 2 potential runs on the base paths in this inning. And in a game decided by who's ever got the best offense, that could be crucial. And now Martinez behind 0-2. Tolbert a chance to really escape the inning with the help of his catcher. Bouncer to short. Waiting on it is Bakar. What a play at first to get the out. The stretch of the year by Jones. Wow.
Talk about full split just about.
Well, the Wildcats do get 1 run on 2 hits, but nobody left after the 2 caught stealings. And we lead at 11-8 as we go to the 8th here on the CatEye Network. 6 outs to get for BCU. We go to the 8th. Wildcats have the lead 11-8. Need 6 outs, but the batter is the danger man, Cardell Thibodeau. First pitch outside, ball 1. Thibodeau holds his bat back, and it's 2-0. Thibodeau is a sophomore, but started his collegiate career at University of Louisiana Monroe. There's a strike, 2-1. Played in 51 out of 52 games as a freshman with the Warhawks of ULM. Hit .235, 40 hits, 10 doubles, 3 homers, 28 RBIs with the Warhawks. Big cut and a foul into the glove, and it's 3-2. Tonight, Thibodeau walked and scored in the first, had an RBI single to center and scored in the second. Singled in the fourth and was caught in the middle of a double play and reached on an error in the fourth. So he's got a 1,000 OBP tonight. 3-2. That's a nice line drive base hit. And he is 5 for 5 for getting on base.
Well, that is unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. Well, as much as with a lot of SWAC teams would say, oh, it's the competition, it's the whatever. I mean, he hits everybody. He hits everybody. Unbelievable season putting together.
Batting .468. That's top 10 in the nation. Number 6 coming into the night's game. And he's just going to improve that with another 4-hit night. Breaking ball misses upstairs to Taj Bates. Bates has been up and down tonight. Fielder's choice in the first. Reached on an error in the second. Was caught going to third by a nice throw from right field by Rivera. Grounded into a 4-6-3 double play in the fourth and struck out in the sixth, Bates. That strikeout in the sixth was with the bases loaded in the first batter that Zambrano faced, so he's now been around the order once. And for the second straight batter, Zambrano is behind 2 balls, no strikes. Wildcats may be up 11-8, but there is no way that this game is over until the last out is made.
Certainly feels that way.
And he hit him. And that one was bad, too. Right on the arm. 2 on, nobody out, and here we go again.
Oh boy, and they got to do this 2 more times tomorrow. Could be sun-up, sundown baseball.
Six times out of 8 innings tonight, the leadoff man has gone on for Southern.
The batter's left fielder, number 26, Jalen Lucky.
And the first 2 guys have got on in 3 of those. And those were the innings that they did the damage. Now Jalen Lucky, who's 0 for 4, but he's got 2 RBIs on 2 sac flies, 1 in the first, 1 in the sixth. Was hit by a pitch and was caught stealing in the second and grounded out to short in the fourth. He bunts it foul, 0-1. There is some standing and throwing going on in the BCU bullpen. We had hoped J.C. Zambrano was going to get you the rest of the way. But it may not be that way. 2 on, nobody out. Another big jam for Zambrano. The junior out of Venezuela and Doral Academy in South Florida. Catcher sets up outside. Fastball misses outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. As still showing the bunt was Lucky. Lucky, the junior from Atlanta, Georgia. Another Westlake High School product, the transfer from Alcorn State. 1-1. This time he pops the bunt up in the air, and it is caught by Martinez, who is charging down the line, and that's a nice lucky break for the Wildcats.
The
Jalen Lucky fails a bunt. Now first and second, one out, and a double play can get you out of it. Batter is Cameron Bird, 1 for 3 with a walk. Bird singled in the first, RBI style. The scorer, Thibodeau. High pop, right field line. This would be a long run for Newton. He will not get there. It bounces in front of him. It's shallow enough that everybody holds up, but the bases are going to be loaded with one out.
That's a play that felt like he had a step on it. Felt like he was there. Don't know if maybe just in the hustle on his way over there might have lost track of it for just a second before it hit the ground, but you saw the kind of pause, maybe just being conservative, making sure that at least it bounces in front of him and isn't worse.
For the second time in 3 innings, Southern has the bases loaded. With the Wildcat lead at 3, a potential go-ahead run at the plate will be Dylan Jones, who is 0 for 4. 2 strikeouts, a fly out to center and a ground out to third. Will Southern make a change here? Head coach Chris Crenshaw will send Jones to the plate. Thibodeau on third after a leadoff single. Bates on second after being hit by a pitch. Bird on first after his single. That one is fouled hard. First base side out of play onto the road. Wildcats looking to remain tied at 6-1 at the top of the conference. Breaking ball strike, 0-2. Florida A&M and Grambling State both already winning today. The Wildcats need to win to keep pace. Zambrano ahead 0-2. He delivers. Breaking ball skips by the catcher, got to Escobar's legs, and it's 11-9. Coming home is Thibodeau on the wild pitch.
But when you have speed like Southern does, they just make you pay for every little thing. And they chip away, and they add a run here and a run there and a base here and a base there, and every bit of it adds up.
Bates goes to third, Bird to second. Takes away the double play ball. Still only 1 out in the inning. Here's the 1-2. Zambrano, the breaking ball misses. Didn't get a swing from Jones. And now Jones a base hit away from potentially tying the game. Tying run on second in the form of Cameron Bird. Low ball 3. And I think that's Yoancel Diaz in the bullpen. And just like Southern, after Zambrano, the bullpen gets a little iffy. There could be a lot more drama in this game. The 3-2. Breaking ball, low ball 4, bases loaded again. The one good thing is that brings the double play ball back into play. And now Rashad Grace will bat with a chance to give Southern the lead.
They're going to let Zambrano try to trust his stuff and find his way out of it, at least for one more batter.
Rashard Grace struck out in the first, singled to left in the second, singled to right in the fifth, lined out softly to third in the seventh. Fastball, breaking ball low, ball 1. Just outside with the slider.
It's a nice pitch. It might even be nicer to lay off of it, but that is as tough as it gets.
2-0 now. Chopper foul, 2-1. Grace attacking the high inside fastball. Bases loaded, 1 down. Breaking ball caught the bottom of the zone that time, and it's 2-2. The long look from Zambrano shakes off Escobar once. Now comes set. He deals. Got him on the 12-6 curve. 2 outs in the inning.
And that's what we talk about when we say, yeah, some guys in this bullpen, Zambrano being one of them, he might let up a walk here or there, but that stuff is an extra level, and the stuff that, especially in the SWAC, they don't see a ton of, and it's very easy to see those swings and misses.
Biggest AB of the game here for Jacoby Radcliffe. 1 for 3 with a walk. That hit a triple in the second. He did come around to score. First pitch of ball. From my angle up here, didn't see where that missed. Maybe inside.
Yeah, the strike zone hasn't been super consistent, really, for either side in this game.
Ratcliffe bounces one foul behind the plate, 1-1. These two teams will run it back for what is sure to be an excitement-filled doubleheader tomorrow starting at 3. You want to get yourself down here to the Jack. Well, we'll have it all for you here on the CatEye Network. Fastball at the knees, strike 2. What do you want here?
The breaking ball's been so good when he's been able to locate it. But I also wouldn't rule out something high and hard.
He goes down and away, doesn't get the call, 2-2. He did go for the off-speed. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Wildcats up 11-9. Fouled away, he went for the high fastball. And we'll do the 2-2 again. The Wildcats have survived 5 errors. They were down early in this one. 5 runs in the first 2 innings for Southern. They've battled back. Ground ball to first. Fielded by Martinez. He takes it himself, and the Cats get out of another bases loaded jam. 1 inning, 1 run, 2 hits, bases left loaded. The Wildcats up 11-9. You feel like they need more runs as we go to the potential last ups for the Wildcats here on the CatEye Network. To the bottom of the 8th we go. Potentially the last ups for the Cats tonight. Jorge Gonzalez Fabo leads off. Fabo 3 for 4. Single to center in the first. Single to left in the third and scored. Single to right in the 5th and scored. Struck out in the 6th. First pitch is upstairs. A ball from Tolbert. Stephen Tolbert still on the hill. The freshman for Southern. Allowed 1 run in the last inning, but really could have been more as the Wildcats were caught stealing twice. Definitely if Rivera isn't caught stealing, he's home on the triple by Newton 1 batter later. That'll haunt you in games like this. 2 balls, no strikes. Waves and taps the foul back, does Fabo on the sweeper. Which you referred to as a frozen pizza as we were setting up today. I'd never heard that before.
That's a credit to Will Middlebrooks on the Red Sox broadcast and opening day, filling in. Well, not filling in. I guess he's the new color analyst for them after some retirements in the offseason. That's a fun one, man. The sweeper calling it a frozen pizza. You heard the Frisbee before. I guess it's kind of just an alternate.
Fabo bunts it towards third, charging his Bates. The throw across the diamond, not in time. What a play by Fabo.
And I've used it a few times, but when you try to do against Southern what they try to do to everybody else, it's those kind of plays that might go underappreciated but are a big part of what it takes. Because late in the game, like you said, could be last ups for the team, and you already got a lead, even if you don't maybe feel super confident in it. But legging out one like that, hustling down the line like that, is a really big part of what it takes to play a ball game like that.
The batter is Jorge Rodriguez. First pitch from Tolbert. He squares to bunt. Puts it down. Foul. Rodriguez, 1 for 4 tonight, but that one a big one. In the 6th inning, he took a wiffle ball swing and banged it off the top of the batting cages in left field for a home run. Other than that, popped out in the infield in the 1st, had a sac bunt in the 3rd, and flied out to right in the 5th. Pulls the bunt back, checks his swing. Oh, no, he didn't. He went around it. It's 0-2. Late call from home plate umpire Vincent Cressier. Fabo on first after legging out a bunt single with nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th. Wildcats up 11-9. Punched out on the outside corner looking, and down goes Rodriguez. Well, outside the home run, Jorge Rodriguez has not had that great of a night. And the batter is Jesus Venegas, who has had a pretty good night. Venegas singled and scored in the 2nd. 2 RBI double in the 3rd. Doubled and scored in the 5th with an RBI tacked on as well. Runner goes. Here's the throw down to second. Ball gets away, so the runner is safe. Fabo gets the stolen base, and I think if the ball didn't pop out of White's glove, I think he was out.
Yeah, he definitely had him.
The Wildcats being super aggressive during the late innings. They almost had 3 guys caught stealing the last 2 frames.
Yeah, but it's not really an aggressive slide in the old school sense where you're kind of hurting somebody, but doing enough to be physical enough to knock the ball out of the glove there.
1-0, chop foul, 1-1 by Venegas. Tolbert's done a good job in this inning of not letting the Wildcats barrel stuff up. In the last inning, it felt like the Wildcats were hitting stuff hard. They just got caught stealing twice and locked themselves out of some runs. Count is 1-1 on Venegas. Watches a breaking ball that didn't have much break on it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Venegas, the junior from Weston, Florida, Tallahassee Community College transfer. Here's the 2-1 from Tolbert. Fastball inside, almost hit him. 3 balls, 1 strike, and has had the unenviable job of replacing Colton Olison, who we talked to on the broadcast earlier this afternoon, at second base.
Yeah, that defensive captain position, still one this team might be trying to figure out a little bit.
Ball 4, Venegas takes his base. 2 on, 1 out, the batter is Irvin Escobar. Escobar tonight, in his first plate appearance in the 2nd, hit an RBI triple to right field.
Now batting catcher number 22, Irvin Escobar.
Came home on a wild pitch for the 2nd Wildcat run of the ballgame. But since then, flied out to left, ground out to 2nd, walked and was caught out 6-4 to end the inning. Ground ball to 3rd, diving, stopped by Bates. He's going to throw to 2nd for 1. Back to 1st, inning-ending double play, 5-4-3. Well, wow. There has been some defensive gems for Southern tonight, and it's kept them in the game. If Bates doesn't make that play, that's 1 run, maybe 2. But the Wildcats get nothing in the frame. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left. And we go to the 9th. Wildcats 3 outs away from taking the series opening win against Southern here on the CatEye Network. Wildcats 3 outs away from a series opening win over Southern, a win that has been not easy to say the least. 11-9 is the score. Benny Bakar leads off an inning for the third time tonight. And he's got on both those other times, once with a single, once with a walk. That one a tough play for Venegas, he can't make it. And another single for Bakar to set up the top of the order. Here we go again.
Did you expect any different?
Nope.
Oh boy, and to think we get 2 more tomorrow in a day where the arms are going to be at a premium for both bullpens.
Well, they've left Zambrano out there, the Wildcats. That was pitch number 61 to start the inning. He's gone this deep in a couple of appearances. But even so, for a long reliever, this is pushing it. Fastball outside, ball 1, and here's the danger duo, KJ White and Cardell Thibodeau. With the Jags down just 2, already White represents the tying run. Squares to bunt, takes a strike. Most pitches thrown in an appearance for Zambrano is 70. He is on his way to breaking that tonight. That was in his first appearance of the season against Stony Brook. All the way back on the 14th of February. There's a nice fastball strike at the knees. A ball and 2 strikes on White. White is 4 for 5. Singled and scored in the first, singled and scored in the second, singled and scored in the fourth. Reached on a walk in the 6th, was stranded on 3rd, grounded out in the 7th. Way outside, 2-2. And now the little things come into play. You can't let a ball get by you if you're Escobar. You can't throw a pickoff attempt away. You can't make an error in the field. 3 balls, 2 strikes now. Yolancel Diaz continues to warm in the Bethune-Cookman bullpen should the Wildcats want to go to him. They'd love to get out of this with only using 2 pitchers. The full count delivery. Swinging a chopper towards second. They go to second for the lead runner, and that's all they'll get. But that's a smart play. Get the lead runner. Bakar out. Fielder's choice for White. And here comes Thibodeau.
Well, it takes a lot of composure to, receive that ball and make the heads-up choice to go to second. Because of how Southern has run the base pass, how many athletes are on this, it's easy to say, well, lock in your choice. I got to go to first. But Venegas sees what's happening, sees he's got a step, and saves you a runner in scoring position, which is so massive now.
Thibodeau has reached base every time tonight. He's scored 3 of the 9 Jaguar runs. Walked and scored in the first. RBI singled and scored in the second. Singled and was caught on a double play in the 4th. Reached on an error in the 6th. He hits one high in the air. Deep to left field. Back goes Newton. He can't make the play. It's off the wall. He lost it. The relay is botched, and it's a 1-run game as scoring all the way from first is KJ White. It's 11-10.
Well, it's happened a couple times tonight. I mean, there's another one where the ball finds you, and Michael Rodriguez in there as a defensive replacement. Not a bad outfielder by any means. In fact, we've praised his play in the outfield a lot, but first ball he sees, first chance he's got in the night, misplays that one a little bit, thinks it's going to the left down the line. Instead, it cuts back in towards the middle, and he's really nowhere close to it by the time it hits the turf.
And now the tying runs at second with 1 gone. And we're going to have a pinch runner at second base as well.
Well, it looks like that might be the end for Zambrano. And as good as he is, as long as we know he's capable of throwing out there, it's not an issue necessarily of always, as he run out of gas. Although no immediate call to the pen, maybe they won't make the change quite yet. I think he's trying to give him one of those very special end-of-game, finishes out coaching pep talks. But it's certainly a decision, and especially if you leave him in now, that you'll really kick yourself for second guess if things do go all the way south here. Oh, it will be a change. He was starting to tread down the line, but it's a lot of trust you're putting him coming back out after everything he's been through thus far to this point, after 70 pitches thrown. No knock on him. I mean, another really solid night for him on the mound. It feels like maybe I should have had the leash just a little bit shorter course, with Yo-Yo coming in, there's a chance to put it all away and make that a conversation we never have to have.
Arrington Eason is the pinch runner at second base for Southern, and Yoansal Diaz will be the pitcher for Bethune-Cookman to try and close it out, up 11-10, tying run on second, 1 out in the 9th. Arrington Eason is 4 for 4 on stolen bases on the year. Has only had 11 plate appearances, mostly used as a pinch runner. Yoansel, the graduate student from South Florida. Last year, 13 relief appearances, 22 innings pitched, 7.54 ERA. This year, just 3 appearances, a 5.40 ERA, 6 2/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 4 runs on 7 hits, all earned, striking out 9, walking nobody. He's allowed 1 double, 1 home run, 1 hit by a pitch. An inning and 2/3 against Jacksonville, where he gave up all 4 of his runs. Then an inning and 2/3 against North Florida, where he gave up nothing and struck out 3. Then 3 1/3 against Jackson State in the Sunday game, where he allowed nothing. No runs, 1 hit, struck out 2. And you would love a performance that's closer to those second 2 than one that's like the first one.
And it's crazy to see Yo-Yo in a role like this, and I give him a ton of credit for the arm that he's grown into over the last couple of years. And it all started in pressure spots like this. I mean, when we've seen him at his best, it's been in these pressure situations, gotta have it spots, which is crazy for a guy that began his career largely in mop-up duty.
The batter is Taj Bates. Came into the game,
Nice pitch.
tied for the lead in RBI on Southern. First pitch, a breaking ball inside corner for strike 1. Tonight, Bates, technically 0 for, but has reached base 3 times, once by fielder's choice, once by hit by pitch, once by an error. And he launches one deep down the left field line. It is a foul ball. Inches from giving Southern the lead in the 9th, just to the left of the foul pole. The 0-2 to Bates. Time is called.
Tension in here for a regular season game, opener of a series with a long way to go until the playoffs. This is about as high pressure, high intensity as you'll feel in this ballpark all year.
It's the graduate student from Hialeah on the mound against the senior from the Virgin Islands at the plate. The potential tying run is at second in the form of pinch runner Arrington Eason. The 0-2 from Diaz. Popped up. Foul territory. Onto the roof. You can hear the former players that have come back, including Colton Olison, standing next to us here in the broadcast booth. Once again, the 0-2. Runner taking off. In the air, right center field, playable for Lee. He makes the catch. The runner goes to third. Eason slides in, 2 away, tying runner on third.
Well, here we go. Everybody holds your breath.
The batter for Southern is left fielder number 26, Jalen Lucky.
Jalen Lucky, who has 2 RBI sac flies in the game, but that won't do him right now with 2 away. The Wildcats an out away from taking the first game of the series, or a base hit away from having to bat in the bottom of the 9th. First pitch from Yo-Yo Diaz. Breaking ball strike in the zone. Lucky tonight. Sac fly in the first, sac fly in the sixth. Hit by a pitch and was caught stealing in the second, grounded out to short in the fourth, and popped up on the infield in the eighth. Swing and a miss! Wildcats 1 strike away.
Oh, when you throw a first pitch like he started with, you're attacking early. Then you put the batter into defense mode, and that's when you get a swing like that. You can feel the tension. He understands the spot he's in, and he whiffed at one.
Fouled away. Lucky barely caught up to it, like his namesake. We'll have to do the 0-2 again. The tying run is on third in the form of Arrington Eaton. 2 outs in the ninth. Wildcats up 11-10. Fastball didn't get the swing. Up at 90 miles an hour. Yo-Yo maybe has the fastest stuff on the staff if he really puts his arm into it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Breaking ball, chopper to third, Fabo, long throw across the diamond, the bouncer is wide, and we're tied at 11. Fabo rushed the throw.
Yeah, the first bounce for that one was right about even with the mound. Hopped 3 or 4 times. And he'll get credited for an error, but that's another one.
No, they gave him a single.
Yeah, that's another one where I think you could argue he may have made it down there either way, and we hope that Lucky's not injured. I don't know if he tripped over the bag or pulled something stepping on the bag.
Well, the Wildcats will now have to bat in the bottom of the ninth. Now the question is, can they get 1 out and do it tied, or will they be fighting for their lives?
Right, and with Southern, man, you just never know. I mean, the 2-out opportunity has by no means been safe tonight for either side. But, man, I mean, this might just be one of those games that whoever bat last was going to win. But that's still a long way to go to get there, it feels like.
The batter will be Cameron Bird. We are tied at 11 in the ninth, 2 outs. And I don't really put that one on Yo-Yo. He got the soft contact. The Wildcats infield has been all over the place tonight. Probably should have had a 6th error right there. Diaz fires the fastball past Escobar. Free base for Lucky. And now a single potentially gives the Jags the lead.
And we mentioned it. I mean, you go from the narrative that would have come out of this, had the early score held, to what a great comeback, to now staring down the other side, or very easily coming back with a walk-off. I mean, so much can change with just a couple of swings left in this game.
Breaking ball, strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's all Diaz needs to do. Throw the ball in the strike zone, induce soft contact, get out of the inning. Although that's not guaranteed with how the Wildcats infielders look tonight. Inside almost hit him 2 balls and 1 strike. Bird tonight singled in the first, struck out in the third, grounded out to short in the 5th, walked in the 6th, singled in the 8th, has never been past second base. Low, ball 3. Upstairs, ball 4. And there's nobody out there for the Wildcats. It's Yo-Yo's game.
Well, and when you got ahead early in counts, like he did with the first couple of batters he faced, you have the luxury of throwing pitches like the one that he ended that at bat with. That high breaking ball trying to get him fishing. Some of the ones he threw low or even on the outer half. very clearly, especially when it's been the off-speed stuff, he's trying to hunt those swings and misses that he got a fair few times through his first couple batters. But when you fall behind early and then you're trying to play catch-up, this Southern lineup has shown that they're too smart. They have too good of an eye to swing at too much junk like that, especially when they've already got the upper hand. So you kind of have to balance it. But I also understand, man, they keep you on your toes so much that you feel like you have to nibble sometimes because every time they're making contact, it seems to be finding grass.
We'll be back tomorrow, doubleheader, 3 p.m. Eastern, the start. We may not be done tonight. And the Wildcats will still have to bat in the bottom. And hopefully it's tied at 11 and not behind, but that still remains to see. The batter is Dylan Jones. Bounce to the plate. And almost you think, is the moment too big for Yo-Yo, but with all he's done in his career, the big spots he's gotten the Wildcats out of, especially up in the tournament.
There's also something to be said about, I mean, you mentioned the defense. Even if it's not credited as an error, it's not the cleanest play in the world, and now you got that in the back of your mind. I should have been out of this.
That's a strike. Dylan Jones struck out in the first, flied out in the third, grounded out to third in the fifth, struck out in the sixth, walked in the eighth. Missed low, 2-1. Fastball didn't catch the zone. 3 balls and a strike. And now the Wildcats will scramble somebody out to the bullpen. Fastball down the middle, fouled away by Dylan Jones, and the Wildcats a strike away from getting out of it. The 3-2. Inside ball 4. The bases are loaded.
Well, that's one of those baseball things, too, where although maybe not your closer per se, you kind of get into that mentality where, you know, I gave this arm this inning, and maybe that means you're a little too late to go to the pen, or you ultimately don't make the decision to go to the pen again, just because of that old stigma thing where we're going to win or lose on the back of this guy.
Rashard Grace watches a breaking ball strike. 0-1. Grace, 2 strikeouts, a line out, and 2 singles tonight. Yeah, up and in. There's strike 2 for the 3rd straight batter. Yo-Yo Diaz is 1 strike away from getting out of it.
He's ahead. Try to go to that off speed to get a swing.
Fouled away. Rashard Grace, who came into the game catching for his brother, Renard. Can he pick his brother up and potentially give Southern the lead going to the bottom of the 9th? There's the 0-2 from Yo-Yo. In the air, right field. Chasing is Lee. He's got it. 1 run, 2 hits. Sorry, 2 runs, 3 hits, 3 left. 11-11, the Wildcats with a chance to walk it off in the bottom of the 9th. to the bottom of the ninth, tied at 11. Jeter Poyeto will lead off against a new pitcher for Southern. It's the senior out of Detroit, Michigan, and a transfer from Grambling State, Malik Abdul, for his third appearance on the mound of the season. 2 innings against Prairie View last week, as a fastball at 90 is a strike. And then 1 inning against McNeese. He's given up 7 runs on 8 hits, all earned, striking out 3, hasn't walked anybody. Poyeto on the ground is short. Fielding is Becker. He throws the ball away! Scrambling back to the base is Poyeto. And now he is down as he collided with the first baseman, Jones, while trying to make the turn.
I hope it's just frustration and not any kind of injury. He kind of got unlucky there. I mean, if that ball is just a couple of inches out towards the outfield wall, that one is sailing and bouncing into the bullpen. You're guaranteed at least the 1 base. But instead, it kind of hits the very edge of that dugout and allows Southern to track it down. And maybe if he was rounding all the way, he'd have a chance for second, but really no choice there but to scramble back.
First error of the game for Southern. The Wildcats have committed 5 and maybe an argument for 6. And yet, the winning run is now on first in the form of Jeter Poyeto. Will they pinch run for him is the question. Poyeto is not the slowest guy in the world. And now, I think Coach Hernandez is asking to see if there was interference here. I don't think nothing I think will change with this umpires meeting. That's the only thing I can think that Coach Hernandez would ask for.
Yeah, and we don't have the best angle at it from here, unless the ball somehow is somewhere where you could argue it was unplayable, whether it kicked into the corner of the dugout and was scooped out.
The ball bounced off the wall and came almost right back to the first baseman.
Yeah, I thought so too. Not really sure what an interference call would.
But Poyeto definitely ran into Jones. I'm not sure there was much Jones could do about it. He was coming down from leaping for the ball that was over his head.
Yep, just about on the base. Certainly didn't interfere with the path from first to second, but really just the path back to first. And it's not like there was an out. I'll say this is a longer official conversation than we usually have for these. Usually it's more of a due diligence kind of thing.
I'll just call him safe at first. So now what do? The batter is Sergio Rivera. 2 doubles, 2 runs scored for Rivera tonight. They will pinch run for Poyeto.
Your ticket, please. Head running at first base for the Wildcats, number 17,
Jamie Villafane
pinch running for the Wildcats. Now batting for the Cats, number 19.
will be the pinch runner at first. He is the winning run. The batter is Sergio Rivera with Armani Newton on deck. And actually, it's Michael Rodriguez on deck, as he replaced Newton defensively. Abdul comes home with it. It's a bunt that's popped foul into the netting. I expected the Wildcats to do this. Get the runner over to second, and then a base hit potentially ends the game with the speedy Villafane out there pinch running. And a game that has now crossed the 3-hour, 30-minute mark. Squaring to bunt, putting it down the first base line. It will barely roll foul. And now on 0-2, it pretty much takes the bunt out of play, unless you want Sergio Rivera to go Japanese style, try and bunt with 2 strikes.
We've seen the Cats do it before. I wouldn't say often. I don't think this is the right spot to do it, because there'd be nothing more frustrating than going down that way for the first out of the inning, and what feels like you kind of got to have it here.
Abdul from the stretch. Well, Rivera did square to bunt, but that pitch was nowhere near. Abdul previously at Grambling State before this season. And he's trying to keep Southern in the ball game with the potential to win it in extras. Another ball. As Rivera pulls the bunt back, it's 2-2. I would try and maybe just poke it over third base with Bates playing all the way in.
Yep. Might drop back if no bunt is shown immediately.
2-2. Upstairs, almost hit him. And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Oh boy.
That was
a dangerous one.
That was a dive out of the way from Rivera. Wildcats with a win tonight would remain tied for the lead in the conference at 6-1. They would fall to third with a loss. The Jags have started conference play rough, just 2-4. The 3-2 from Abdul. Bunted, foul, and Rivera's out. Oh, that's the danger. 1 away, runner on first. Winning runner on first, batter, is Michael Rodriguez.
But now you don't have the luxury of trying to bunt again. I guess you could, but certainly not as easy of a road forward. And again, a guy that's seeing his first at bat of the night.
Righty to lefty. Throw back to first, Poyeto's there. I'm honestly surprised they never did that during the Rivera AB.
Yeah, it's one of those things where everybody in the ballpark knew exactly what they were trying to do.
Low ball 1. Top of the order waiting, Darrell Lee on deck. Michael Rodriguez, the sophomore, with his first at-bat of the game, the 3rd batter tonight for the Wildcats to bat in the 9-hole. Big cut and miss. Had a change-up low and inside, 1-1.
Yeah, that's trying to end the game with a swing type approach there. Cuts in on his hands.
Rodriguez, base hit to the right side. Villafane trying to stretch it to third. He'll get there without a throw. Winning run on third, and the batter is Darrell Lee.
Well, that's a really impressive approach there. I mean, hammering the ball inside on Rodriguez, challenging him. Really tough to get your hands around on that and try to put a swing together there. And he manages to do it. Punch a no-down ground ball through the hole over there with a good pace on it. No chance to make the star play. That is not an easy pitch to get your hands in on.
Big meeting behind the third baseline for the entirety of the Wildcats team that's out there right now. Villafane, pinch running for Poyeto, who reached on an error to begin the 9th, is at third, thanks to a pinch hit single by Michael Rodriguez, who's at first. 1 out in the 9th, winning run 90 feet away. I would put this up against any other baseball game in the country tonight. I don't care if it's MLB, Division I, Division II, NAIA, I don't care. This may be the best one.
I mean, the inning after inning, man, it feels like we've had a new storyline. We've had a new wrinkle to the game. We've had a couple runs back or taken a new lead or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it has been unbelievable theater. One of the best games I think that I've seen a part of this program at all in the last handful of years that I've been here. And if this is what we're in for some more tomorrow or down into the SWAC tournament, I mean, my heart might feel it a little bit, but you can sign me up.
Darrell Lee, the junior from Alabama, stands in. It will be righty to lefty. Lee, just 1 for 4 tonight with a walk.
Oh, wow, interesting.
And they auto-walk him to load the bases to set up a potential double play to send us to extras.
I I don't know why you would do that. I don't know why you would do that against, like we've mentioned, hitter of the week 2 weeks ago, newcomer of the week this week. Talking about a guy who against UNF gone 4 of the 5 times. This is one of the better hitters, if not the best hitter in the Wildcats lineup against the Southern bullpen that we know can walk guys.
Bases loaded. Here's Andre Martinez. Just 1 hit tonight. It was back in the third. He did come around to score. He lifts one in the air. Left field down the line. It is caught. No, it drops. That's it. Darrell Lee comes in from third, and this one belongs to the maroon and gold. Oh, baby. What a win for Bethune-Cookman.
Well, we said it over the last couple of games, right? We talked about it a lot in the context of the midweek, where we said the Wildcats don't really have a signature win yet this year, right? A lot of times we look at the midweek as that because those are your high-profile opponents. But this is a team that is, again, we said it, a style of team that has haunted you over the last couple of years. And you did to them what they've done to you so many times over the last couple of years. Unbelievable fortitude, grit shown by the lineup, the pitching staff to pick it up when all felt lost. And yeah, sure, it's hard. It's easy to say that when you put 11, or it's hard to say that when you put 11 runs on the board. But man, the spots they needed to have it, they had it. The opportunity there when you very easily could have faded away, and it felt like if you didn't score in the bottom of the ninth, it wasn't going to happen for you tonight. To come through and do all that, no doubt were they challenged by the coaches inning after inning, came through in every way possible. Signature win of the season, an unbelievable one here at the Jack.
Game of the year so far?
I'm not sure we'll see a better one. Well, maybe we will tomorrow.
tomorrow.
but really, I'm not sure you'll see a better one in the entire SWAC this year. I mean, unbelievable. And we talked about it, too, the narrative change, right? It felt like all hope was lost when you looked up and saw 4 errors on the board through 3 innings. And you were down a bunch, and your starter didn't look like he had it, and all things went the other way. And you chip away, you chip away, you chip away. You didn't try to take it all back on one swing. You did what Colton Olison told us about what seems like an eternity ago in the middle innings, about just staying part of your routine, swinging at pitches you should, not swinging at pitches you shouldn't, and just chipping away. And when you needed the chance for a big hit, when you got the opportunity, you came through. I mean, unbelievable how much this team showed with a win like this tonight.
Your final line score of an unbelievable baseball game. Stick around. We're going to hear from Coach Hernandez if he remembers to come up here.
Right.
Southern Jaguars, 11 runs on 15 hits. They committed 1 error and left 14 on base. They left the bases loaded 3 times, including in the ninth. For the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman, 12 runs on 19 hits. I think that's their most in a game, although maybe the one against UMES.
No, it's the most.
It is the most?
It's the most. They only had 15 in that UMES game.
Wow. You'd think they scored 30 runs. They only had 15 hits.
Yep.
19 hits, their most of the season. 5 errors. I mean, really, I think, and, hindsight 2020, we won the game. I can be happy about it. I think if Fabo starts the game at third, and Martinez starts the game at first, we win this one by maybe 4 or 5.
Well, see, I'm good we're coming off a high-energy win like that. Coach will be riding high, no doubt, so we can ask that question because it's a good one. I truly don't know what the thought process was, and you saw the switch immediately, whether it was the pickoffs, whether it was the routine plays. The second that they made that switch, everything felt not great, not the best defensive night, but it felt a step better. And to hear the logic behind switching the two of them, I understand wanting to get Martinez's bat in the lineup. That's one of the reasons we see him in the field for a guy that has been moved in a lot of different positions, just trying to get him in there. I totally understand that part. But why he was out of a position that we saw the last couple of games, how great had he been at first base? I mean, he had made some unbelievable plays, and maybe you say, we'll translate that athleticism into third. But you got a guy in Fabo who's been that lockdown guy there all season since he's come back from injury. I don't understand it. We'll hear from Coach in just a couple of minutes as he heads his way up here. But it's certainly a question to be asked. I don't think we'll see it again, that's for sure.
The Wildcats strand 7. The winning pitcher is Yoancel Diaz. And I don't know if he'll take it because he certainly would tell us if we were to ask him. He didn't have his best stuff tonight. He gave up his first 3 walks of the season, only struck out 1. His defense behind him, again, didn't do him any favors. There was that rough throw by Fabo at third that was to tie the game. The outfield didn't do him a ton of favors. But he got through it eventually, and he gave the Wildcats a chance to win the game in the ninth. The losing pitcher is Malik Abdul in only his 3rd appearance of the season. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. And we may see a ton of runs tomorrow because both of these bullpens gave probably their best arms to this game. Zambrano is clearly done for the Wildcats. Huff didn't go a lot for Southern. He will probably be available tomorrow, but we shall see. It's going to take the starters going deep for Bethune-Cookman in the next 2 games. We're now joined by I'm sure, relieved Coach Johnny Hernandez here on the CatEye Network postgame show. We were talking right after the winning run scored from third. Game of the year, Coach. It feels good to come out on top of one like this.
Yeah, it definitely does, especially after not playing clean defensively. You know, the 5 errors, that's something that I addressed to the team. You know, we just got to be better there. You know, we can't give, you know, teams like Southern, right, and teams in our conference or any team in the country those opportunities. You know, we have to clean it up defensively. There's no excuses. And, you know, just proud of the guys coming back, you know, down early. You know, Boca, again, a gritty outing. I know that it wasn't his best stuff again, but, you know, the offense picked him up. And Zambrano did what he had to do, you know, in the middle innings, and, you know, Yo-Yo came in. I mean, obviously gave up, you know, the lead or whatever for them to tie it, but just proud of the way the guys competed that 9th inning.
I want to talk about the choice to start Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo at first and Andre Martinez at third, and then you give up 4 errors in the first couple innings, then you switch them back to where they had played previously. I know with Manny Soufrain out of the lineup for the foreseeable future, first base is a big question mark. We've seen 3 or 4 guys play over there. But what was the rationale behind that start?
I mean, I think going in, right, like we felt comfortable with, you know, Andre playing third and Febo playing first base, and, you know, it kind of backfired on us. And, you know, it's like Monday morning quarterback, right? You take it back. But you know what, man, the guys work, you know, and that's something that we'll clean up. And, you know, Coach Cartaya, you know, works with the infielders day in and day out. And that's something that, you know, we have different options. Obviously, you know, with Manny out, you know, it opens up the door for somebody to kind of claim that position. So, you know, if we're going to go heavy on the offensive side, then, you know, Febo had a really good day-to-day offensively. He's been doing well for us, you know, the whole year. And, I mean, Andre Martinez has to be in the lineup at some capacity, you know, with the walk-off, you know, hit today. But overall, man, I think that we have different options, and we're going to explore those options. And that the only way that we know what we have is by putting it out there to test. And if it works out, great. If not, then we can always revert back.
I mean, so many times this season, you've had to win games via the offense, via just outscoring the opponent. You had to do it again tonight. I mean, Jesus Venegas, unbelievable. 3 hits, 4 RBI, and 2 runs scored. You mentioned Fabo, 3 hits, 2 runs, and an RBI. Seeing SWAC pitching is a different beast because there's such a drop-off between the starter, who tonight, Grace, was pretty good early, and then the drop-off to Huff and Tolbert and Abdul is pretty significant. What is the message to the guys when they go to the bullpen?
It's like every series, whether we're playing a SWAC school or non-conference on the weekend, our job is to get to the bullpen as early as possible, you know, and I think we did that today. And like you said, right, Grace kept us in check for a little bit, and then we finally broke through. And, you know, the one thing is that there's no excuses, right? Like, we got to keep scoring runs because, you know, I mean, the pitching's not ever going to be lights out as much as you want it to day in and day out. So, again, you know, another opportunity tomorrow to win another SWAC series, and that's what we're looking forward to. And like we told the guys post-game, enjoy this one, but we have to play cleaner. There's no excuses of all the mishaps that we have, but offensively, this is what it should look like. Regardless whether we give up 10 and score 12 or whatever the case may be, there's no excuses in that dugout. Everyone has a job, and they're all going to do it.
Doubleheader tomorrow. How much is the pressure on the starters to go long after using both Zambrano and Diaz out of the pen tonight?
I don't see it so much as pressure. It's just knowing that we definitely do need quality starts from both guys, Cota and Sanchez, especially in a doubleheader. You know, we obviously don't want to go to the bullpen early on the first game. So it's just Cota's job and Edwin's job. Just, again, man, pitch for outs, you know, be competitive, you know, just limit the damage. If there's anything crazy going on, just limit the damage and then give the offense an opportunity to go ahead and, you know, do what they do.
Congratulations on an epic win, Coach, and we'll see you tomorrow.
You got it. Hail Wildcats.
Once again, your final line score tonight, Southern 11 runs on 15 hits, 1 error, 14 left on base. Bethune-Cookman 12 runs with a walk-off by Andre Martinez on a season-high 19 hits. They committed 5 errors and left 7 on base. The winning pitcher is Yoancel Diaz. The losing pitcher is Malik Abdul. No save recorded in this one. Time of the ball game, 3 hours and 40 minutes. We'll be back at 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon for a doubleheader between these two schools. I mean, if you thought 9 innings was epic tonight, how about 18 innings between these two teams tomorrow? Grab some tea. I know I'll have to have some tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow. For Bryce Wojnowski, Autumn Sander, and the rest of our CatEye Network crew here at the Jack, my name is Michael Toretto. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.